So, you know, these stipulations and so on and so forth. I mean, it's great, you know, I mean, it's great, you know, internet fodder, but that's usually for the average guy. Yeah, they don't want to go to the movies with the average guy. Now, a guy that they really like, they got a crush on, the dude that they really want to close the deal with, they'll go anywhere with that motherfucker, literally anywhere. Because women, by truth, by their own admittance, they'll accept the guy they love, even if the guy's in the worst position in his life. They'll sit there with the rose-colored glasses, and they'll sit there with all the hope of him turning it around in the world. If she's going to be that way with a guy when she's in love, that means, you know, it makes sense that if she really likes the guy, if she really wants the guy, she's willing to basically put up with a few things in order for things to go forward. And that's just it. All that shit is just bullshit.
Okay, so I will say this. If you guys missed it, I was on Fresh and Fit the other day. Not on their show in Miami, but a show out here in Vegas called Access Vegas. And Fresh and Fit were co-hosting with Rolo Tomasi and Michael Sartain. If you guys want to check me out on that show, feel free to do so. It's still up on their channels, I'm sure. I walked out after an hour and a half. The show got redundant. I was bored. I just agreed to disagree with Myron and I walked out. So if you want to see when I walked out, go out and check that out. So going back to what you were saying, Haran, on that show, when I was with them on that show, I said exactly what you said. Okay. Not everybody qualifies for everything. And social media has people under the impression that if they don't qualify, they still allowed to get it. Okay. That includes beautiful women, the time of beautiful women. That includes men who are high value, right? So social media has people under the impression that they can still get shit they don't qualify for, right? But in the real world, I always say there's social media and then there's the real world. On social media, you can stomp and scream all day and talk about what you're not going to put up with. And then there's the real world where, like you said, women are getting railed out in the bush because the guy looked good. He was fucking fine, right? And I made that example with Fresh and Fit. I asked the guy sitting next to me, I didn't know his name at the time. I said, what's your name? He was like, Fresh, right? So it's the little guy. And I said, you know, hypothetically speaking, I made an example on the show between Michael Sartain and Fresh. If both you guys were trying to date me, hypothetically, I'm single, both you guys are trying to date me, okay? I'm going to automatically be drawn to Michael Sartain. Why? Because he's just physically fit. Él es más macho. He looks strong. He's tall. You know what I mean? Not a bad looking guy, right? So he doesn't have to come at me with a lot of game. But I told Fresh, I said, you would, because I'm not attracted to you automatically. Now, it doesn't mean that I would not date you. It means that you would have to work harder. And that is life. I keep saying no man walks into a Bentley dealership and says, I deserve that. Why? Because I want it. So men very well know their limits when it comes to tangible and animate objects that are expensive, cars and vacation helicopters. You don't go to a helicopter, you know, and hey, I want to fly in a helicopter. Do you have money? No, but I just want it because Fresh and Fit told me that I deserve it, right? Men don't do that, but they do that with women all the fucking time. And I said both men and women don't qualify for shit, but for some reason, social media made them think that they deserve it. And that's not how life works. And then you mix these award shows and these record labels and these magazines who are throwing any and everything on the cover. We have obese women in lingerie selling Victoria's Secret now, selling Savage Fenty. So everybody thinks that they are worthy and belong everywhere, right? And everything is getting convoluted. People are getting confused. Shit is going haywire, but everybody doesn't qualify for anything. And I'll land the plane here. Yes, Haran, some guys could just holla with their looks. And some guys got to work for it. And it's been like that since the beginning of fucking time. And it always will be. I don't care how many times you super chat Fresh and Fit. I don't care how many times you super chat Andrew Tate. If you are a zero and not a hero, you will have to work for it. Or you could stay mad on your keyboard. I'll land the plane. I'm taxiing now.
Haran, you're muted, Haran.
I just want to say something real quick about a Fresh and Fit broadcast I just caught. He was talking to a couple. Myron was talking to a couple, and the premise was that he's upset that she's not being submissive and blah, 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 and fit and feminine and friendly, or whatever the fuck it is. All right. And they got down to brass tacks, found out that the guy makes $30,000 a year. The woman's the breadwinner. She takes care of the fucking kids. She holds down the fucking house financially. He can barely, I guess, he lives in Connecticut making 30 grand a year. So he can barely pay for a loaf of bread and pay for a fucking phone bill at the same time during a month. So he's not necessarily the leadership type, even when you looked at him and so on. And Myron basically pointed these things out. He said, this relationship is going to shit because of you, bro. You worth $30,000. You live out in Connecticut. You're fucked up. Your sexual market value is in the shitter, and so on and so forth. But when we say things like that, if I was to say things like that, and the fact that I got two women around me, I'm being called a fucking a panderer. This guy's pretty much saying the same shit I fucking said. Now, here's the thing. Now, here's the kicker in the comment section. In the comment section, no one commented on the fact that Myron said these things, basically telling this guy to get his shit together. What did they do? They fucking came after his wife. His wife, who takes care of his fucking ass, who takes care of the kids, who is the doting wife that, she holds everything down. They called her ugly. She looked like Miss Piggy, all this other crazy wild shit. Basically tore her down. And here is the difference that I noticed. When women are not desirable, they don't give a fuck. It's when she is desirable, then she's the 304. Nobody called her a 304. Nobody tried to tear down her. Nobody asked about her fucking body count. Nobody gave a fuck. No, it's the women that are desirable. And this is where both sexes are full of shit. Because this guy was sitting here trying to think. He even also said that one of the biggest problems that are happening in these red pill spaces is red pill masturbation. Where these guys, they get on these fucking systems. They throw super chats to hear all this shit. And they go back out and still be a fucking bum. So they're not really using any of this information to change their lives. This shit is just a drug. This shit is no different than going to a fucking bar, getting wasted, and going back out and being a slock of shit. So again, I land the plane by saying, in that particular instance, I saw that Fresh was saying things that actually were important, that needed to be said, and these dudes completely fucking ignored it.
Yeah, because you're looking at the audience, an audience full of males who are not getting their way out of life. So therefore, instead of looking at, why am I not getting what I want out of life, right? It must be those horrible, horrible women, right? So they look at every woman as horrible, 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 and they need to be torn down and brought down a notch because they hate themselves. They're not getting what they want out of life. So no matter what Fresh and Fit brings on there, no matter what, they're going to find, if she has a vagina, they will find a problem with it, right? And to your point, yes, if she's the more attractive she is, the more of a problem they will find, because they know the more attractive that woman is, that's that woman I will never be able to get. Her right there, that bitch will be a bitch to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what they see. They see every woman that rejected them, every woman that they wanted, and they knew that they couldn't get. That's all it is when you look at that. Because when let's just keep it a buck. When I look at Fresh and Fit, I never watched their stuff ever. Before, until getting on this show, I didn't even know they existed. So then I had to go look at clips and stuff to educate myself and things like that. And the moment I saw them, I was like, these are the people that these men are following, because they legit give me Revenge of the Rejects. They give me the guys who were in the back of the classroom that no one noticed the whole time we were going to school. And I said, and that's really the issue. They were the guys in the back of the classroom that no one noticed while they were going to school. And so especially they get online, exactly, and they get online, and now we all got to pay for it, especially the beautiful women.
So going back to what my nephew is funny. Look what he said, Lily. Yep, that's who we be.
That's right. And we ain't done.
We ain't done, baby. The walkout game. You better,
We got more walking out to do.
if it no longer serves me, and I advise men and women, when something no longer serves you, get up from the fucking table. I want to go back to something Haran said, because Haran said it's like a drug, right? And like with any other drug, it's addictive, and you go back and you go back even when it doesn't make sense. And when it doesn't make sense, you're just quiet about it, right? Like you said earlier today, Fresh and Fit were doing a show. They were talking to a couple. The woman was average at best, okay? I would say even below. Had she been very attractive, saying those same exact things, she would have been all types of hoes in the chat, all types of hoes. Because what Lily said, they loathe attractive women because it's a constant mirror and reminder of what they can't have. But again, these men won't do that. They won't go up to a Bentley dealership and press their faces up against the glass. They very much know what they don't qualify for when it comes to, you know what I mean, the big boy toys. But they feel like women, right? They feel women should have no standards whatsoever. No standards whatsoever. Women are not allowed to have standards, right? And we do. We have many of them. So going back to how much of a drug this is, I just screenshot some of Fresh and Fit's tippers, and I want to read to you the type of tips that they get during a stream. Y'all ready to hear the type of tips they get? Their super chats. Here are their super chats. $1,000, $1,520, $600, $450, $420, $340, $284, $265, $260, $200. The top tipper was $1,520. So this is the type of money that these men are throwing into the super chats of Fresh and Fit, and that goes to show how much of a drug it is. Because remember, there's no ROI in these super chats. Fresh nor Fit are going to teach these men how to go out and be more attractive to women. They really are getting nothing. They're just living vicariously through them, bashing women. It just feels good, just like drugs, right? And you pay a lot of money for drugs. Watch your mics, because I'm squeaking when I talk, and somebody's mic. Yeah, so it just goes, that's a lot of money. And you would think cocaine, you know what I mean, cannabis, whatever. I know some people say cannabis is not a drug, it's a medicine, whatever, you know what the fuck I mean. But you know, you spend a lot of money on feel goods. I would even say liquor, anything that feels good, you're gonna go out your way and spend a lot of money on it, even if it's a temporary feel good, right? And Fresh and Fit and Andrew Tate and all of that, these are temporary feel goods. You don't take those guys with you once they calm down. They go and fuck the women that they have, that they can now afford. They get into those fancy cars. They stay in those fancy hotels. They put on those fancy duds, and you just calm down and you live your below average at best life. They calm down and they use all the tips to live a good life, right? And with that said, I have zero. Do not misconstrue what I'm saying. I have zero against the hustle. I agreed a lot with the tall guy, the fit guy, the Myron. I agreed a lot with him when I was on the show with him, because I'm a very logical person. I even called some of the women out on the panel. Again, you could go watch it if you like. I called the women out. Now, the funny thing is that in the chat, motherfuckers were still against me. Why? Because I'm a hot, sexy biatch, right? Now, had I been a big old girl, say like a Burley Things, and I was sitting there, then they would accept my word, because I don't remind them of women that they can't get. If I look like a Burley Things, or I look like, if I was sitting there and I was, let's say, a Lizzo, just throwing it out there, they wouldn't care. They would agree with me. They would be like, yeah, girl, yeah. But because I'm attractive, in the chat, they had to make things up about me, right? They had to say, oh, she's this, she's that. None of which were true, because these men don't know me. They don't know my dating life. They don't know what I want to do or why I'm doing it. But they have to make things up because they have to hate me. Why? Simply because I'm attracted. That's it. And that's all it takes. It's just, that's it. I didn't curse their mama out. I didn't tell them they were bitch ass. Nothing. It's like, just, she's attractive. She's, it makes it, you know what I mean? And that's how these guys are being conditioned. Meanwhile, again, Fresh and Fit cams down, they go spend their money, the money that they super chatted. You go back and you find another podcaster to beat off it in the chat. And they do this over and over and over again. Hi, No Saint.
Hey.
Good to see you. Look like you falling asleep over there.
Yeah. It's really weird to me that there were people that were giving quite a bit of money. So to me, that kind of takes out of the equation for those people that they don't have means, because $1,000 to an average person is a lot of money. So if you're giving $1,000 or $1,500, you've got to have a lot of money. So it's kind of weird that they're still hanging out there. Now, I don't think that's the majority of the audience. I think the majority of the audience don't super chat anything. And I think I think you're spot on a few things. Listen, there are jealousies about, there are men are jealous of other men that are born into means or that have made it and they didn't make it. With these guys, it's just really odd that the people that are in the chat that are the ones, especially that say destroy and tear, and all this stuff. And I really believe that if it wasn't for law, they would do a lot worse things to women. I was watching today an interview with Kemper, a serial killer. That huge. People loved. I mean, he was charismatic. I'm talking about in jail, like people. He's 6'9". He's very intelligent. He couldn't stop killing women until he killed his mother. That's how much resent he had for his mother. He took it out on other women. And so when I'm listening to you talk about this, and I'm thinking, people that have to watch this and are giving all this money really have issues, and it's kind of scary. And men in particular, I think, are more susceptible to be a little bit off and to take it to the next level. There's not a whole lot of women. There's a few, but not a whole lot of women serial killers. I don't know. It's just odd to me and kind of gross. But there's obviously there's a crowd that wants to watch these things. It's just sad to me that these guys found a way to make a living through exploiting those feelings. And that's why I don't like those guys.
So I want to really quickly, hold on a minute. I want to acknowledge this comment because this is another point that I made, right? $200 for a first date? Hell no. 1,500 super chat to say somebody's a whole money well spent, shaking my head. These are the same guys. And mind you, Fresh and Fit says we're not reading any super chat under $50. Okay. So that's for the average guy you're talking about, No Saint. They got $50 to call somebody a hoe or fat or hit the wall or they got $50 for that, because look at what an addiction it is. It makes their dick hard for Fresh or Fit to read just words. It makes their dick hard. That's how they get off. Okay. Fresh or Fit, usually younger than them. Okay. Than the guys, the ogres in the chat. Watch your mics, guys. Usually younger than the ogres in the chat. And, it's like, it makes them feel good. They just, I'm going to throw this down. And if Myron reads it, it'll mean something to me. Think about the insanity, right? I worked all week for this money. I'm going to give him $50 because when Myron reads it, then it'll be real that I called this woman a hoe. It'll be real to me. Think about that. These are the same motherfuckers. I ain't spending. I'm on a coffee date. That's all a woman is worth. So they'd rather get their dick stroked by Myron reading a comment versus trying to see if a woman likes them with a $50 date. Isn't that interesting? There's no hope.
It doesn't shock me personally, because America has a very poor understanding of addiction. As a person who's an addict, who's an addict, who's a recovering alcoholic, it's not that you have a lot of money. It's just that you have a strong enough addiction. Don't get it twisted. A motherfucker could be broke. If what they're addicted to causes $100 a pop, they'll fucking money. They'll find that fucking money. Okay, so these dudes could be literally blowing their entire check on Myron and them. They could literally be working just to get this hit, just to get that hit, man. And look, listen, again, addiction comes in various forms. It's not just crack. It's just not just drugs. It's whatever affects your brain and has you coming back. There's people who are addicted to religion, They throw their money at these churches. There's people that are addicted to, you know what I mean, sex, shopping, making money, all kinds of, you know what I mean, addictions. This particular thing right here, these guys are basically making money off of the fact that a lot of these men feel inadequate. A lot of these men never won. A lot of these men never really reached a certain space in their life. So they're taking advantage of that. And the best way to take advantage of a person like that is to keep the blame from being on them. Keep the onus from being on them. And that's literally what cult leaders do. If you keep the onus on a motherfucker, you can exploit that person.
Well, that's what that's what I think what everybody's saying about these guys that are throwing their money out there is it is a cult-like group, and it's like, you know, it's like most of the time it used to be like if you could get a radio announcer or something, like somebody you really admired, to say your name on TV. Oh, he notices me, right? He notices me. Well, this is like a smaller version of that. So there's a group and people, it's almost like fame, but it's only fame in YouTube. And it's not, the real world doesn't know these guys, and really it doesn't matter, right? But on YouTube, we do know a lot of these guys. So I think it's some of that too. Like they're getting the attention of the cult leader, like you're saying, Haran, which I totally agree with. I think it's like, oh, I'm getting the attention of the leader of my group, of my tribe, and it gets read, and everybody else in the chat sees it, and it's one of the, and it's an acceptance. It's an acceptance. Yeah, because what you're saying is, and Lily and everybody really, but about the guys that couldn't get the attention, weren't popular. There is a jealousy to that, because yes, it isn't an even game. I don't know. I don't even want to call it unfair. It is what it is, right? Some people are born and they're going to be good looking. Some people are born and don't have to do a whole lot. They have charisma and they do get certain breaks, but life's not fair. And I don't know. I understand in this country and probably in other places as well, we tend to want things to be even, but it's just not the way it is. So this is a lesson in life. People, listen, I wish, there's so many things I wish I was born. I wish I was a good athlete. I wish I was better looking, all these things at a young age, even at a teenager. I'm like, man, I wish, you're not, okay, I'm not ugly, but I'm not turning everybody's head. So I'm not as good looking as some of these people. And there's jealousy there. And then you just understand it. It is what it is. And you try to work on your strengths and do what you can to make it. But yeah, I just think that a lot of these guys don't like the fact that some people are born and they're just born with a lucky ticket of, being more attractive. And so that's where I think some of the vitriol comes from. It's just, they're saying it's not fair, but yeah, it's not.
Yeah. And back in the day before social media, people were okay with that. They knew their lane. They were comfortable in their lane. I've never seen so many people yelling and stomping about not being happy about their lane, when their lane is really they're doing in their business. Because I don't care how short a man is. I don't care how misshapen he is. If that man wants to improve his situation, he can.
And so they would rather pay that money for someone to lie to them, as opposed to paying a portion of that for a co-payment for a therapist, right? Because that's the other thing I notice about people. I don't know if it's an American thing, if it's a human thing, but people love you to lie to them. They will pay top dollar for top dollar lies, okay? And because the Fresh and Fit came on and only did content where they were like doing like they did with that guy earlier, berating him, right? They would have never gotten to the place that they're at today, right? But this is indicative of a bigger problem. This is saying that it's more of these men out here than men that are out here doing their thing, or at least it makes it look like that. When you look online and you see the guys who have the large followings, right? it's going to be the men who are going to be bashing women because there's so many men out here who are not getting their way, that are falling behind with this new climate of women outperforming and out earning and things like that. So we're having a lot more men that are losing their shit behind women. And like I keep saying, they keep making women their problem when their problem is them, right? Because it's clear that you also got some that has the means, the financial means, and they're still not getting what they want. That's got to be
Now,
double bad. That's
right.
th-
1,500 for
that's
fresh and fit. No, Saint, check out the private chat, please. So let's get into the list. These lists that allegedly went viral, right? I want to do this early. I got to do this early. I'm sorry, guys. We got to do it. Okay. Who reacted the most to this list?
oh, come on. The men jumped off the Brooklyn Bridge. There was a whole parade of men jumping off the Brooklyn Bridge when that list came out.
Black men.
Who?
Black men.
The black man.
Okay, black men, right? Who is easiest to bait on social media?
Well, black men when it comes to relationships. There's a reason why, though. There's a reason why.
Explain. You're a black man.
A lot of brothers have
Close.
self-esteem issues.
Black adjacent.
A lot of black men have self-esteem issues. So when it comes to any kind of critique, I'm not saying that, white men aren't running around here. Well, from this generation aren't running around here with self-esteem issues. But a lot of brothers out here are running around with some real hefty self-esteem issues. And when these kind of discussions happen, like you saw what happened when the woman said that the woman literally just said, I don't want a bus driver. I just want the motherfucker that owns the bus company. Motherfuckers lost their shit. Like literally lost their shit. We heard about this shit for like 3 weeks. Like 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Ironically, DJ Envy was at the middle of that. That's even weirder. But anyway,
The tables be turning. The tables be turning.
Anyway, here's
And
the
mind
thing.
you, that went viral longer than most things go viral in today's climate, which shows you a lot.
Here's the thing. I just want to say one thing real quick. Fair distribution of any resources will never lead to a productive society. It just won't. And nature understands that because nature is smarter than us. We're literally here because nature is smarter than us. And human beings think that they're smarter than nature. That's why the concept of fair and a lot of times a socialist society and shit like that makes sense, you know what I mean, to the intellectuals. But at the very base level, we are here because of the incentive of competition, what lies at the core of capitalism, the incentive of killing another person in order for you to survive. Yes, this is even within the human body. When a man expels himself into a woman, the sperm that don't make it, they get killed. Yes, they die. Your mother shoots out acid, and your brothers and sisters die a vicious and horrible death. It is nature.
Okay,
Now,
because I want to stay on the race thing and social media,
Got it.
race and social media. Okay. If I ran YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, and I knew that activity, keeping users online, was what is going to make me money, what I would do as a mastermind, CEO, owner, marketer of these things, is I would poke at Black people because Black people have a lot of time. And when I say time, baby, in Lily's voice, have a lot of time to argue about their counterparts. And I mean a lot of time. Like Black people have ample amounts. I will never believe a Black person again when they say, I don't have no time.
Right.
A lot of time, right? So when these things like this drop, whether it was I don't want the bus driver, I want the guy that owns the bus company, the list, don't let him take you to X, Y, and Z. And mind you, this list didn't have a race till later on. Watch your mics, guys. Mute your mics, please. This list had no race. The first list had no race. Okay. Now later on, as the list progressed, then there was a list that said no, don't date Black American women. Then they just blatantly started throwing race in it. But when these lists drop, things like this, going back to what Haran said, must be true. Black men online must be the most insecure collectively. Stick this where you would like, okay? Because I'm going by tangible evidence. Who I see in the chats, whether it's Fresh and Fit, Kevin Samuels, or Andrew Tate, the majority of people I see in the fucking chats. I told you, y'all gonna get aggravated tonight. I know it's Friday, but this has to be said, right? Black men, it's a fucking cavalry of keyboard warriors, right? And there's no race on this list. There was no race on this list. And that to me is phenomenal, that there's no race on the list. I'm going to read the list. Nowhere will you see, don't let a Black man take you. This list said places you don't let men take you on a first date. Didn't say Black men. It said men. It said men. And Black men got offended. So wouldn't it be logical to say that Black men got offended because this is the only places they can afford to take women collectively? And that really means some, not all, because honey, I know Black men that can afford lots of shit. So I'm not talking about me in my life. I'm not talking about me in my life. I'm talking about people that went crazy over this. So let's read the list and get into it. So this list came out. It literally said, don't let someone take you out to these places. Cheesecake Factory, Applebee's, Chili's, Chipotle, Olive Garden, the movies, your house, any fast food chain, Buffalo Wild Wings, Wingstop, Red Lobster, a buffet, IHOP, Denny's, the gym, church, Starbucks, coffee dates, ice cream dates, family functions, movie night, Netflix, Hulu, and etc. Somewhere that requires a long drive, bowling, nightclubs, hookah bar, a bar for just drinks, Waffle House, sports events. Now, when I read this, I chuckled. I thought it was funny. I thought it was satire.
Right.
Because they literally X'd out anywhere that anyone can breathe, live, or eat, right? Like everything. So I thought it was satire. I thought it was funny. However, it became a gender war between Black men and Black women, as we see often online. Okay. And then the men clap back because, you know, men back in the day used to just laugh at shit women used to do and be like, yeah, okay, go ahead, shorty, but not anymore. Now men throw on their skinny jeans, they buff their nails, and they get on those keyboards. So they had to clap back at the women because that is what men do now. So these are the women men should never take on a date. This is the man's clap back. And there's a picture of a Black man on the list. Okay. Single mothers, women with tattoos, women who dress like this in public, sex workers, OnlyFans girls, mattress actresses, strippers, call girls, escorts, Instagram models, bottle girls, women with an Instagram page, women with non-ear piercings, women with purple hair or any other unnatural color, women with hoe friends, models who market to men, women who travel regularly, women who drink liquor regularly, women with weak absentee fathers, women who live alone, women who part with a party voice, women on dating apps, women who have been on Fresh and Fit, women with lists, women who have been engaged, divorcees, American Black women, and women raised in the West. So that's the clap back from the men. That is how the men are clapping back. And you notice when the men clap back, they were clear about specifying a race of women, specifically Black women. When the Black men clap back, they made sure to mention Black women. Now, I've said here before, and a lot of people get offended, nobody hates Black people like Black people.
Oh,
No.
so true. So true.
Nobody. Not even the white folks that you're like, oh, severe oppression, systemic redlining. Blah, blah. No one hates Black people like Black people. They are adamant. They're vocal. Okay. They make sure you know we hate you and you hate us back. Now it's funny because I was talking to Brother Ish earlier about this, and he was like, it's reminiscent of the Willie Lynch letter. Now I know. People are gonna say that wasn't real. It was just made up, but I see it everywhere. So whether there was a Mr. Lynch in existence or whether some idiot just put that out for shits and giggles, I see the evidence of that letter everywhere. Turn them against each other. Landing my plane, taxiing.
I mean, well, why would they not dislike each other? I mean, they're in America. They're literally been taught from birth that you are from a nation of people that ain't shit. So they've been subconsciously programmed to hate each other. Anything that looks like each other, looks like them. I've seen a number of black women, I won't name names, but I've seen like maybe one or two actually give into the whole idea, and they made an AI version of themselves as a white woman. I'm dead ass serious. They said flat out, I hate being black. But you know what? As crazy as that shit might sound, I give her props because at least she's brave enough to admit it. There's a lot of black people out here who just don't want to be black because they allow these ideas and so on and so forth to tell them who they are, man. I saw the list. I saw both lists, and I thought both people were just full of shit.
Did you see the third list?
What's the third list? What is this for trans people? Like, what is this? Like, what is the third list? What is the third list?
Okay, so this is the third list. I'm sure there will be more. So this is the third list, and of course, there's a picture of a black woman next to it. Right. So this is the third list. This is the women clapping back yet again. Do not date men with toddlers or younger. Men that live with their mama. Men that live with their baby mama. DL men. Men that don't have a valid driver's license. Men that bank with Cash App. Men that sag they pants. Men that don't take care of their kids. Men that disrespect women. Men that don't own a suit. Men that live in motels. Men that want to hold a couple dollars till they get paid. Men whose clothes are in tubs. Men that can't log into anything without help. Men that got to tell they mama everything. Men that work in the FedEx hub. Men that work for a temporary service. Truck drivers. Them grand rising men. Them what you do men. Men with multiple kids and baby mamas. Men that bash women on social media. Men that have to load their card to add money to it. Men that don't keep their locks up. Men that hairline gone, but they keep holding on. Men that always talk about what they used to have. Married men. Men without transportation. Men that are cowboy fans.
Damn, that last one's a little deep. Like, damn.
I mean, the beginning of that list was kind of sound, though. I ain't going front. The beginning of that was a sound list.
Ladies, at the end of the day, let's just call it what it is. The two motherfuckers that are arguing and they're sending these lists back to each other, they are the broke ass average version of the black community. The black men who are worth a particular number and the black women who are absolutely gorgeous, they are not having these arguments. Okay, they are somewhere enjoying each other. They're somewhere enjoying each other. She's getting flued out. His hands is all over her. They are doing the goddamn thing. They are laughing at these motherfucking memes. These broke never do that. Another sugar. Tonight you getting railed out by a nigga with his jeans sagging in his mama house. And you about to be the fourth baby mama. Let's just call it what it is. Bro, she's got 3 tattoos on her legs. You know that. And a lot of them are just literally like notches of niggas' names and shit like that. It's literally a kill list. You know what I mean? Going up her freaking leg. You're fucking with these chicks, dog. Everybody want to act like they got all these fucking choices. Right. All these options. Everybody has all these options, man.
But you know what's funny? What's funny, Haran, is yes, I think about that, right? Like when I was on the Fresh and Fit show, I felt sorry for the women because you know they have like 10 women in that room. It's always too many fucking women in the room. I felt sorry for them, and I felt even more sorry for the people that follow these men. Like I literally pitied them because I was like, you poor baby, it must fucking hurt to live in that reality of have not. And it must hurt. Like, I can't fathom, I can't imagine waking up and just going into a life where I'm not going to have this and I don't qualify for that and nobody wants me and it must fucking hurt there. So I guess giving someone $50, I don't know. But Haran, like, I look at these lists, and this is what really, really gets me about these lists. The men that wrote that list and the women that wrote that list belong together. That is your counterpart, sir, ma'am.
They just mad at each other because they really ain't. I'm gonna just go out and say it. They mad at each other because they really don't want to be with each other, but they at the clearance sale, and everything must go. And you gonna get that nigga in the bin. She gonna get that nigga in the bin because everybody else who qualified and got money, they left with the real bags and they left with the real suits. So yeah, you get her, and she gets him, and that's life. That's real life. That's
but it's
real life.
You know, it's always been that way for some reason. With social media, people now they want to gripe about it and talk about it out loud. It's weird. It's just weird.
Because
Kev C said, I disagree. Segments of non-blacks prove their hate to black people even more than black people themselves. I'll disagree with that.
Go in any black comment section. Go in any. This is the thing, and then they always want to use proximity, right? But you can go onto a white channel like any of these red pillars, manosphere people, and it's going to be a ton of black men and they're bashing, and then you see it all the time. There's so much evidence online that this is not our opinion. This is not like black people. Listen, I have traveled all over the place. I've lived in a lot of places. I've lived in different types of neighborhoods. And that's how I came to the conclusion that black people do not like black people. Because living in neighborhoods that are mixed, that are all black, that are all white, that is the conclusion. I've never seen black people treat black people worse than black people treat black people. That is my experience, period, point blank.
We're at a space right now. You see, I had a friend of mine who told me years ago, and he said that the real power in how to deceive a person or a group of people into believing that they have power, the illusion of inclusion. See, social media has created this world where people feel that since they have access to speak their truth, access to speak their world, access to say whatever the fuck they want to say, they think that they're actually included in the global power structure. You really don't have any real power. You're just a couple of characters on Twitter. If they were to shut all this shit down tomorrow, I guarantee you a number of people would literally commit suicide because
and all those people, and both those people on their list would just go back to dating each other.
And that's it.
Without complaining.
And that's it. Because before all this shit, everybody understood and respected the hierarchy. We all land somewhere, man. We all
right.
Land somewhere.
And that's the thing that when you don't, that's the thing. Anyone who is getting flued out, anyone who is getting treated well, and both genders, any man who can have any woman he wants, any man who has options, any woman who has options, they're not making these lists because it's not even in their environment, right? It's not even like, right, it's not in their world. But that's why I keep saying that men and women who are making these lists belong together. They're just like you said, Haran, they're mad that they belong together and they're mad that that's their lane. But let's not get it twisted. These men and women belong together. They are each other's counterpart. The guy with the works at FedEx, yes, goes with the girl with the 2 kids and the tattoos. They belong together. The people that they're complaining about, they belong. That is your counterpart, sir, ma'am. That is your counterpart. But going back to something you said, Haran, you said when you were saying it's not, and I'm gonna paraphrase, but when you were saying basically It's no wonder they hate each other, because that's how they were taught since the beginning of time. Well, in this country specifically, then what say you about Black people who love each other, couples, married couples who love each other genuinely? I'm not talking about them people that fake a funk online. Black is beautiful, black girl magic, black power, and then they hate themselves and hate other people, and every chance they get, they'll bash their own people that look. I'm not talking about that fake pride shit, because there's a lot of fake pride shit for a lot of ethnicities out here. Okay, it'd be fake pride shit. Okay, but what say you about like Black people who love each other genuinely, who are married, who are stellar examples of family and success? They've lived in the same country as these idiots making this list.
The people that I've met, and I'm basing this on my experience, those people have a relationship, and it's a very human relationship. They have no wild delusions about human nature. They have admitted that either the man or the woman has cheated, or such and such, whatever, they had problems in their relationship, they worked it out, yada, yada, whatever. They don't have these grandiose ideas about human beings and love and so on and so forth that absolutely no one can, arise to. Because in order to arise to that, and not only arise to that, but absolutely make sure that you consistently do that, it requires you to do something that's not even human. No one's going to constantly do what's necessary to be the doting husband, the doting wife, or the hyper masculine husband. Sometimes you want your own space. Sometimes she wants her own space. You reach to a point in your marriage where there's this human thing, and then you realize that, yeah, okay, I actually love you as a person. I actually love you as a person, and I respect you as a woman. I respect you as a man. A lot of times these people come in here with these crazy ideas along with their own traumas, and they throw their traumas onto the other person. They throw their expectations onto the other person, shit that they're not willing to fix themselves. And that's why you have all these wild fake ass fucking marriages and these relationships. So that's just based on what I've seen. Also though, the ones who, there are a couple who are Black, who do have great relationships, but they're not necessarily from America. They could be from Jamaica or the West Indies, other areas of the West Indies.
And I will say the ones who, I tell you, the only couple goals that I look at is my parents, right? They are that couple who genuinely love each other. But I do notice that couples that I see, that I look at them, I'm like, they seem as if they genuinely love each other. I noticed something, they don't be all on social media professing their love to each other every 5 minutes and stuff like that. They're very, most of them really don't be on social media at all, to be honest with you. Yeah, when I look at it, most of them, they may have a social media, but it's just very sparingly. They repost some memes or something like that. But they pretty much stay to themselves. They keep their relationship to themselves, and they mind their business and they go on with life. But when I see people posting every 5 minutes trying to convince us that they're in love and they got the best relationship ever, that pretty much is a telltale sign that they're kicking each other's ass behind closed doors.
Because in those situations, the perception of the relationship becomes more important than the relationship in itself. And 9 times out of 10, that shit is always destined to fail. Because the brand becomes more important than the actual substance itself. The illusion.
Right.
You can't keep that shit up forever.
On that whole, yeah. So I think that a lot of these, what's ironic about these lists and the people, and we can take it back to the people on these podcasts that are super chatting and everything. The irony of all this is that all this energy they're putting into circle jerking and putting these lists together, if they took that to maybe improve themselves, as Haran says, they could up their game, and they wouldn't have to go out with the 9-earring woman. They're wasting a lot of time with this stuff. They're wasting a lot. But again, it comes down to people in general don't really want to work. They want it given to them. And that's what it comes down to. Like, if you tell them, listen, yes, it's unfair, but you can do this, you can do that, you can do. They're not going to, unless they're really motivated, they're not going to put in the effort, you know. And that's not even a race thing. That's just in general. People are like that, you know. There's some people are born with a different gene where they have to be productive and they constantly, but most people aren't. Most people are not. So when it comes to that kind of stuff, those lists you're talking about, I just think it's silly that they're going.
I personally think this is a personal thing from my space. I think the idea of selling the idea of heaven and hell for most people, the reason why they latch onto it is because it gives a sense of fairness. Like, heaven is fair. It's a place where everybody's gonna get loved. No one's gonna be left out. No one was. And hell is the idea where, like, everyone bad and everyone who's full of shit, they're gonna get punished and they're gonna get what's, you know what I mean, coming to them and so on and so forth. But that's not real life. No, the good guys don't always win. Bad people do get away with shit. You know what I mean? Bad people do thrive and get away with shit in this world. And most people have an issue with accepting that the world isn't fair. And they spend their whole lives finding ways to either correct it or wallowing in the fact that it isn't fair. And to me, that's just a waste of time, man.
And to go on top of what you're saying, Haran, the people that are risk takers are the ones that are going to either win, like, to come into power. If you're a risk taker in some countries, you're putting your life on the line. They're willing to risk their lives, especially like dictators, knowing that if it ever turns, they're going to die, right? Or if they're going to overthrow somebody, so the risk takers get rewarded. Most people aren't. Most people aren't risk takers. Most people like being comfortable, you know? And so I think but you can't be mad about it if you're not a risk taker. You can't be angry at the people who took the risks and maybe bettered themselves or you know, went after the woman they wanted and made sure they worked at it to be able to get, you know, to get out of their lane, basically, if you're not born in that lane, you know. Most people aren't going to do it, though. They're just going to sit there and complain about it.
Well, the thing that you often say, and what these other guys often say to make them feel better, is that, or that guy, he cheated. Or he had some sort of cheat code that you don't have access to. But I have access to it. Send me $3.99 or $50 super chat and I'll tell you what he did. You know what I mean? The idea of that, that person is where they are just because of how hard work and discipline. A lot of people can't really sit well with that. They can't sit well with that.
So, I've been having a little sidebar conversation with Kev C that in the chat that's interesting.
Yeah, he wants to pretend as if he doesn't understand.
Right. It's funny and men always do this.
They do this all the time.
All the time, Lily. I'm so glad someone else noticed. So we can let the rest of the people in. Please hit that like and subscribe. Don't feel free to super chat, yo, girl. Okay, it is Friday night. Make me smile. But this right here, Lily, men always do this when we're talking about men that bash women online, right? There's always a guy, right? That's like, you know, give me an example. I thought it's, you know, just constructive criticism, right? He's like, you know, can you guys present specific examples on Black people hating each other? Constructive criticism is not bashing, right? And I've heard this so many times when we're talking about the males who bash, right? All of a sudden, hey, Kevin Samuels was just saying it was constructive criticism when he was telling women 35 and over, you're a leftover. That's just constructive criticism. When he was telling women that their womb was no longer good, that's just constructive criticism. When he was telling women that you got 2 kids, nobody's going to want you, that was just constructive criticism. When he was telling women, fuck you and your degree, men don't care about your degree, that was just constructive criticism. When he was telling women, you're average at best, men aren't going to care, you're overweight, that was just constructive criticism, right? So what I always do is play the Cynthia G card. And when I play the Cynthia G card, all of a sudden, these men know what bashing is. Then it's like, oh shit, Eureka. Well, Cynthia G, yeah, she's a misandrist and she has white supremacy talking points and she was evil and she hates black men. And Cynthia, all of a sudden,
They
their
understand.
brains open up, right? When you say Cynthia G, you play that card, their brains open up and they know what bashing looks like. All of a sudden, right? But if I'm talking about men that bash black women, oh, what do you mean? It was just constructive criticism when he was telling women they were fat and overweight and stupid. That was just constructive criticism. But when I pull the Cynthia G card, she was a misandrist. That's different. She was being critical. She was your white talking supremacy points. So it's like willful ignorance is a pussy dryer. Knock it off.
Right. It's not hot and sexy.
Knock it off. Cut it out. You know what the fuck constructive criticism is, and you know it versus bashing. Okay? Constructive criticism is like, hey, you're working out the wrong way. Why don't you try this form? It is not, you're a leftover after 35. Nobody wants your womb. You've hit the wall. You have a master's degree. Men don't give a fuck about that. That's not constructive criticism. Can we not be stupid on a Friday night?
At least stop pretending to be. I mean, or maybe you really are stupid. I don't know.
No, they're not. They're not stupid. When they're not stupidly. They're selectively stupid.
Mhm.
They're not stupid. What's it's just constructive criticism. And it's just constructive. They're just trying to help these women.
I
It's a
just,
fucking jerk. Bash,
they're,
call it what it is.
they're so predictable. I think they don't. I think they forget that we do this every night, and we get to see them every single night with the same exact talking points and the exact. It's like at this point we know what they're going to say before they say it. It's just really weird. They don't even understand how fucking weird and cattle-like they really are. But okay, we still love you.
I mean, come on. I mean,
Lily still
come on. Look, we're not gonna act like Kevin Samuels ain't tell the chick she was built like, Joe Namath or some shit like that, and that she could, she was built like a running back. I mean, that's not constructive criticism. Constructive criticism is, hey, I have a personal trainer, maybe we can have a discussion, blah, blah, blah. Telling a broad, she's built like literally a brick wall. That's not constructive criticism. See, the problem is in this community, both sides of the community.
I'm sorry, Haran. Kev C, I just dropped the link if you want to come up. You don't even have to come up. You said that you would argue against my points. Click the link. Come on up. You don't got to show your face. Come on up and I want to hear what you have to say. Argue against what I just said. And you not being able to fathom the difference between constructive criticism and bashing. You could come up.
Look, man, at the end of the day,
I heard about Gigi's platform. What happened, Haran?
On both sides of the fence is full of shit, because we can't really get down to brass tacks because nobody wants to have the tough conversations.
Nope.
The tough, uncomfortable conversations. That both sides of the fence are full of shit. Cynthia G is a misandrist, and Kevin Samuels blew up by making misogynist talking points. You know what I mean? I myself am a misogynist at times. I mean, look, listen. I mean, we can't have these honest conversations because everyone wants to come in as a saint and basically point at a sinner, directly at a sinner. And that's the reason why we can't have
can we admit, like, full-grown adults with all our faculties and our brains screwed on right? Can we all agree that people like Kevin Samuels and Fresh and Fit, can we all agree they're fucking misogynist and had very piggish talking points and bashed women, specifically Black women? And can we all fucking agree that Cynthia G was a misandrist, very specifically targeted Black men, bashed Black men, said Black men should be aborted? Can we just agree that on both sides of the fence, you beat off to who makes you feel better? I'm talking to men and women. Can we just agree that you beat off to whoever makes you feel better, but it is a double fucking sided coin. It is fucking the candle burning on both ends. It's a fucking double-edged sword. It is the same motherfucker in a different gender. It's the same motherfucker in a different gender. And they cater to people who don't life well. That's what I say. Some people don't life well. Just don't life well. Don't know how to hold yourself accountable. Okay. Nothing is your fault. Everyone is doing things to you. Life is happening to you. All those relationships that failed were not your fault. It's always somebody else, right? And these people make a lot of money off of you because they entertain, right? That nothing is your fault. So let's hear what Kev C has to say. Welcome, sir. Can't hear you. You're on mute. Watch your mic.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, well, hello to you, Miss Jenny, and to all of you folks on the panel. Just so you guys know, I have been listening to you guys in the background and looking at some of your podcasts and stuff like that. You actually have pretty good presentations. Some of the stuff I don't care for, but I do, you know, just kind of listen to see what it is you guys are talking about. But I would challenge some of your talking points as it relates to what you're talking about versus Kevin Samuels and Cynthia G. You can have arguments for both of those guys as to what they're saying wrong. I personally wouldn't say that, you know, a woman over, you know, a certain age is a leftover. I just, you know, say that she probably have, I don't know, more challenges in, you know, finding somebody who might be interested. That's probably the way I would word it, because that's generally true. You know, the younger you are, the easier, the older you are, the more difficult it is for women. That's just how it is. There's nothing wrong with that, because that's generally what it is. And women can like that or not, but that's generally, that's pretty much the truth. And you can talk to most men about that. The issue with Kevin Samuels is that women didn't like his phrasing, his wording. That this specific, when I watched what you know, you only got to watch a few of his shows to kind of see what women didn't like about him. And their basic issue was the tone and some of the stuff that he said. And then, you know, I would actually go back and listen to what they really had an issue with. And yeah, that was the major thing, his tone, and then they would misinterpret some of his messages. And the one thing I didn't like about what women did with Kevin Samuels is they generally waited until pretty much he was gone, and now he can't be challenged. I would have challenged him more when he was alive. That would have been my way of dealing with him, right?
Well, I have a question, Kevin. Kev, why do you feel like, because Kevin Samuels, he went after both men and women, right? He was just as hard on the men as he was with the women.
Absolutely, yes.
So why do you think that only him going in on women was shared by men?
Well, men were paying attention to what he was saying too. Now you could argue whether men, whether or not.
No, I'm saying, why wasn't it shared? You remember, because like no one knows this unless they actually go. Well, why wasn't anyone sharing clips of him bashing the men? Only clips of him bashing the women are what he's known for and what were being shared. What is your opinion of why that is?
Probably because you know, well, he was talking to black women specifically, you know, women in general, but black women specifically, because he was dealing with black women, and black women generally aren't criticized. That's really it. So that was just something new. No. Black women aren't criticized in a way that's probably they want to hear.
I have to push back.
Black men.
Wait 1 second, Lily. I have to push back on that real quick. There literally is a number of broadcasts. One of the broadcasts is him speaking to a number of incels. Okay, and he had a lot of vitriol for a lot of these guys who essentially needed to get their shit together. That has often not been shared. It hasn't. In the same manner that a lot of these videos in regards to him criticizing black women, that is a fact.
Well, I would say this.
Wait a second. One moment. There's been a number of guys who questioned his sexuality because he asked the dude straight up and down if he had a big dick. Because in the context of the conversation was, what does he have to offer to women? Yeah. He was out of date. He had no sexual prowess and he had no fucking money. But a lot of brothers questioned his sexual identity because that statement stung. There was a number of things that he was telling brothers that they never went along with. He also told them to lead with their wallet. We're having these conversations right now where brothers are saying, no, don't lead with your wallet. He was saying a lot of things. towards brothers that they just weren't I mean, sharing as much as
Okay.
they were, you know what I mean, with women.
Okay, guys do criticize that whole leading with your wallet thing, right? We don't really do that. And
But
most
why
men,
weren't they sharing
No,
these
a lot
things?
of
Most of
brothers
us-
question leading with wallet.
well, I look at it like this. No, most men know not to. Most men know not to do that. And then the other thing too is that there's nothing. Men generally accept criticism better than, well, 'cause we've been getting criticized since what, we were 12. So get better, do better, learn better, graduate school, go to college, get a job, do this, do that. We've been getting kicked in the behind since we were 12. So we accept criticism. We know that we have to be better as men. As a matter of fact, if you fell out here as a man, there's only one of three ways you're going to end up. In prison, you're going to lose your life on the streets, or you're going to end up on the streets. That's how it's going to go for us. So you have to be successful, or if none of those things happen to you, then you got to latch yourself onto somebody, right? Am I going out?
The reality
Yeah.
is that he
Okay, yeah. So then if you're not one of those guys, if you're not productive, then you're going to wind up latching yourself and being a leech to somebody. These are the pookies that we're talking about, right? So productive men criticize the pookies all the time. I know you know that. We get on their behinds all the time.
I've criticized him, but here's the point again.
Yeah.
These videos were not shared in the same capacity as the videos in which he was coming down on the men, and he was not making the same amount of coin when he was. When he was first, the moment he switched by accident, that happened by accident. That conversation.
No, the average at best, yeah. Okay.
Yes,
basically the average at best happened by accident.
And
okay,
when he caught a lick off that man made a pivot. We can agree on that. Now, my whole point here is this: if the information prior to that was so incredible and if it was something that he could profit off of, he actually would have stayed there. That man was a businessman at the end of the day. That was a space that he couldn't profit off of. Male self-improvement at the end of the day, and all of these spaces in these YouTube spaces, these men can't necessarily, make a dime off that. However, when it's framed in a manner in which they can take when they can actually attack women, and they can actually take a lot of these men's shortcomings and point them towards the anger that they have against women, these dudes are making a pretty dollar off of that, and that is actual fact.
Okay, you're making some good points. I'm going to say this, and maybe you'll get it, maybe not, and that's fine. The thing is that men generally accept the criticism. We accept the fact that we can't be criminals. We accept the fact that we have to actually go out and earn a living, and that we can't expect people to take care of us. We accept the fact that if we're a loser, we gotta change our mindset and get up off our behind and do something. We accept that.
I'm sorry.
It just looks like women don't really accept the criticism
who's we?
as far as being better.
Okay.
And I'm trying to figure out who this we is too.
You keep saying men, we accept.
We do.
Wait, let me finish. There are a myriad of podcasters online catering to men who don't accept their level in life, refuse to accept that they're not attractive, refuse to accept that they don't have a six-pack, refuse to accept that women don't like men under 6 feet tall, refuse to accept that women don't like balding men, refuse to accept that women don't like men that don't make sense, refuse to the point where they do 5 and 6 hour streams bashing women because they refuse to accept that they should be better. So who's this we? You keep saying men accept it. We accept it. What men? What we? What men?
So when I say that, I'm talking about the productive. Look, I'm talking about men who actually get it, men who actually know what it is. There are men who don't need to be told to be better.
But there are more who do.
I would disagree.
Why do you think these men make the money off of catering to those men? Because they won't make money catering off of real men, because there's not as many as there are that watch these men that don't know.
Okay, so
they'll be broke.
Okay, so now let me ask you guys ask some questions. So let me ask you guys some questions. Are you saying that are you framing this in a way that the majority of men are just basic failures? Because that's kind of what I'm getting here. Look, I'll concede the point that there are a segment of the male population that are complete losers and failures. I'll concede to that. But that's not the majority of men. So we're not talking about the majority.
Let me ask you something. Let me answer this question real quick, brother. I don't know anything about you. However, in the manner in which you're answering these questions, and you seem as if you carry yourself, you seem like a productive brother. Now, you seem like the type of brother who can take some degree of criticism, who will go out there and actually correct his situation. Out of every 10 brothers, let's be honest here. Let's be forward right here. Out of every 10 brothers, there's probably like maybe two or three brothers who actually will do the necessary work to change their situations. These other brothers, they will not do so, because if that wasn't the case, these dudes, Fresh and Fit, Kevin Samuels, the red pill community wouldn't be making bank like this, man. These guys are making money hand over fist, because at the end of the day, do you think productive men are actually sitting there, you know what I mean, ingesting this garbage? No, because they're outside producing. They're outside making moves. They're outside correcting their situation. So they don't have time to sit here and talk about what woman this, what woman didn't do that, what woman do that. Because at the end of the day, a productive man says to himself, I'd go to woman A and she's not going to give me what I want, and woman B does. Common sense says I should basically concentrate my identity and whatever I'm doing with woman B. That's what a productive man does. That kind of idea and that kind of ethos is not sold in these spaces, because there's no money in that.
Okay, so you said a lot of stuff, but I want to get this part right. Are you telling me that out of 10, that 2 of 10 men, are we talking black men, right? 2 of 10 black men are productive? Is that what you're trying to tell me? I try to focus on black men because I'm not worried about what the other men are doing. I'm not worried about the other men are doing it. Hispanic and Asian and white men are fine. So let's just talk on black men. Are you? So are you trying to inform me or somehow direct me that 2 of 10 black men are productive and the rest of them are duds? So, 80%.
Well, 85%.
85%.
Wait 1 second. Here's the thing. I'm just using numbers right now, but at the end of the day, if we use the word average means most. Let's just call it what it is. We use the word average when they say most people. When we have a particular, let's say the IQ scale, most people fall in the middle. Yeah. Very few of us are actually, have a mental disability. Very few of us are actually brilliant, but most of us fall in the fucking middle. Now, when it comes to productive men who actually built the world, men who have actually pushed society forward through their ideas, through their vigilance, through their what have you, yes, those have been smaller in number in comparison to the men who benefit from the productivity of those men. This is a mathematical fact. This is literally 80-20, okay? This is literally, Pavlov's, algorithm of 80-20. You can look this up. In any society, it's the small number of people who basically create most of the success.
Okay, so I can support that. You're talking about the Pareto principle, right?
Yes.
You're referencing that. Okay, essentially the Pareto principle, 80-20 rule. Got it. All right, yes. I would agree with that, but then that majority of men who aren't the exceptional group, who fall in that middle ground, but not on the end of the failure scale, those guys are also productive, but in a different way. Now they may not be exceptional, but they're average, but they're still productive. They're still carrying society. Those are your basically, essentially, you can call them worker bees, I suppose. But those are the guys that are helping to carry society.
Let me jump in here real quick, because you said you wanted to come up and challenge my points. Those average people, the problem with the creation of social media is those average guys are mad that they're not the top guys. Do you understand that? Those guys are now angry that they are not the guys that can go out with attractive women. And then they all became hoes. I want to go back to something you said, because it is straight up bullshit. You said women didn't challenge Kevin Samuels when he was alive, as if they waited for him to die. No, they celebrated when he died. However, there were several, and when I say several, I mean more than one petition against Kevin Samuels while he was alive. He was constantly being reported. They were constantly doing reaction videos to him. He was damn near on the news, okay? So a lot of women, Black women specifically, were after Kevin Samuels. So for you to say, oh, they waited till he died, where were you? What rock were you under? There were several petitions trying to take this man down. There was exposés. They pulled up his court records. They pulled up his child support records. They pulled up his divorce records. They were on Kevin Samuels' ass while he was breathing. Now, when he died, they celebrated. The second thing is more bullshit. Well, Black women aren't used to getting criticized, and then you change that. You went from Black women aren't getting criticized to they don't like being criticized. Those are two different things. I think it is the most laughable thing I've ever heard on this platform to date for you to say that Black women are not normally criticized when they are the most criticized: weight, complexion, hair, noses, lips, bodies. Okay. And I'm saying that as a Latin woman living in America, I've constantly heard Black, and this was before the explosion of social media.
Okay.
They can't wear their hair a certain way at work. They can't look they can't dress a certain way. They're constantly being criticized. Now, with the explosion of social media, that became tenfold. So for you to say your Black women are not normally criticized, and then you went on to say, no, well, Black women don't like being criticized. Who the fuck would like to hear that they're constantly in the wrong body?
Okay, so
like you made it sound they're supposed to like being criticized the way they're criticized. That's insane to me. It's insane to who would like getting criticized like that? I mentioned Cynthia G, and you automatically said she was a misandrist. She had white supremacy talking points. So Kevin Samuels did it? Kevin Samuels.
Okay, so I was waiting for you to get done. Go ahead. I was waiting for you to get done.
I'm done.
Okay, yeah. So as far as body looks and all the other stuff, those are insults. I would agree with you on that. But I'm talking about, you're right. I should have been more specific. I'm talking about behavior that's actually destructive, behavior that's negative, behavior that's not becoming of a woman or man or anything that's productive. That's going to actually help you be a better man, or better woman, or be productive towards the community. That's what I'm talking about. And I should have stated that up front and been more specific. But but if you're just gonna get up here and say somebody's fat, that's subjective. That's nothing. That means nothing to me. I'm talking about actual behavior that's actually destructive. If you're overweight, then that's a problem that you got to deal with. I don't care about that.
But the men we're talking about, and let's be clear, I don't have anything against Kevin Samuels or anybody else who hustles millions of idiots. I do not. Sorry. I don't feel sorry for the idiots that are making these people rich. I'm about the hustle. So I'm not knocking the hustle. I'm from New York, whether it's a man or woman. If you can lead 1,000 idiots to super chat you thousands of dollars, I salute you. I have no issue with Kevin Samuels. I have no issue with Cynthia G. They are not my type of content, but I have no issue with either of them. Lots of people make money different ways. The church does the same thing. They sell bullshit. People buy it. I don't care about that. I have no issue with them personally. But to sit up and act like they're not the same animal is absurd to me. They're the same animal. Another thing I want to is you said, over 35, it's harder for women. Says who? And then you said, well,
that's because it is.
Here's the thing. Women
say that themselves, ma'am.
Wait a minute. Women in their 30s are dating men in their 30s. Women in their 40s are dating men in their 40s. I
don't care about dating. I care about marriage and families and relationships.
Okay, marriage is not what it used to be. Let's not play that.
Yeah, they don't care about that.
80% of women file for divorce. So women are trying to get away from men. Let's not do that. Not only that, men remarry more than women remarry. Let's just take marriage off the table. Not everybody wants a fucking ring. It is tiresome to be with a man, according to 80% of women who are divorcing you all. So obviously women are done with the marriage thing at 80%. That is a staggering rate of women wanting to get the fuck away from men. Why don't we explore that? Why don't we promote that? 80% of women are saying, get the fuck away from me. I no longer want to wash your dirty fucking drawers, Mr. Sir Husband. Okay, that is a fact. Numbers don't lie. Feelings lie. Numbers don't fucking lie. So to say, well, over 35, even women say that. Women in their 20s are dating guys in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, etc. Now, the men who are dating younger are men of means, men that can take care of women, men that could wine and dine them. Let's not make it sound like that average guy working at FedEx who's 60 is dating some 25-year-old.
He's not. I wouldn't say that either.
It's not real.
I would never say that. Yeah. What you just said about men of means and all this other stuff, I would actually agree with you on that.
Okay.
But now Look, you guys can. I'm gonna ask you guys to kind of like say a point, counterpoint, because you guys got 3 or 4 points, and then nothing ever. I'm never really responding to all your points.
Good.
Right?
Well, I just
Yeah,
You
go
guys
ahead.
got you guys got a lot of talking points. It would just be easier if you just kind of let me deal with the point as soon as you say it.
okay.
'Cause
I have a point for you right now.
you said a few things, and I got to be honest with you. I already forgot most of what you said, Miss
I have a point for
Jenny.
you right now.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Mr. and Mrs. Sapp, we cannot judge black men on the exceptional scale. That's like saying racism is over because we had Obama. Here's the thing about that. Black men can't afford to be average. You can't, because we don't have the numbers. White men can afford to be average because they have the numbers. They can afford they can afford the blood, because if there's 100,000 fucking white men and there's only 10,000 black men, if we really want to compete, a larger number of us have to be exceptional, while a larger number of them don't necessarily have to be exceptional. They can have a group of motherfuckers that aren't that great because they can spare the blood. We can't spare that. So out of 10 brothers, yeah, a good 5 of us have to. A good 5 of us have to. 2 have to be productive. 3
Okay.
have to be, 2 have to be above average, and 1 has to be exceptional. Period. That is, from a mathematical perspective, in order to really change things in the community, that has to happen. We just don't have the space. We don't have the room for error. And I'm speaking from a mathematical perspective.
Okay, you're saying we don't have that?
Wait 1 second. We constantly move as if we have the same room for error as other races of men. We just do not.
Well, we're going to be the same as everybody else. You're going to have like the top 20 and the bottom 20, right? And then everybody else is going to be in the middle. Everybody's going to have the same thing. You say that white men can be average because they have the numbers.
So you're saying that most of us have average? Most of us have average.
Because you're going to have that 50% in the middle who's, I would say 40 to 45, maybe 50% is in the middle, and then the top 20% that's actually a bit more exceptional, right? So that's going to be most of your black men who are average.
So
what's wrong with that?
Let me ask you a question. The guys in the middle were average. Most average guys who live a particular life, what do they usually do? A lot of them covet the lives of those who are exceptional or above average. Mm-hmm. Those guys, they might be dealing with a number of issues, emotional issues, because they don't necessarily measure up to what those guys have done. And who can actually make money off of guys like that? Who can actually make money off of guys like that? A Kevin Samuels, an Andrew Tate, so on and so forth. They can actually make money off of the insecurities and the failures of such men, such as that. Can we agree on that?
Okay, so you said guys who covet that the life of the guys who are exceptional. So what?
Yes,
be exceptional.
Yes,
work harder. So the answer to that is just to work harder, and you get to where they are.
Yeah, absolutely,
that's the
work
answer.
harder. But do they accept that? Do they accept that?
Do
because
they?
At one point in time, Samuels was saying that, and that shit didn't fly, and that shit didn't sell.
It doesn't matter. They have to accept it because that's where they are. If you want to be one of the top 20%, you got to work harder and get there. Nobody cares about how you feel about it. I think maybe you're missing what it is, how I'm talking about men and how men interpret things, right? Okay, so if I want to be in the top 20%, I got to shoot to actually get there. I got to put in the work to actually get there. If I don't do that, I can't be mad that I'm not there.
But that's what they do. You just explain what they do. They don't do that. Hold on, Haran. You just explain what they do. They don't do what you did, what you first said. Instead, they make their choice, because it was something else you said. They have to accept it. They ain't got to accept shit. None of us got to accept it.
Yes, they do. They have to accept it.
No. We all have a choice to be delusional, right? So that's what they do. They take the second choice of delusion, right, and anger, instead of the first choice that you gave. The first choice, I like the first choice you gave. Get your ass up, be productive, all of that stuff. That's the first choice, right? And then there's another choice, and they use the other choice, which is, instead, I'm just going to take my, clear nail polish and go online and bash women. That's
men don't have the latitude of delusion. They don't have it. We don't have the latitude of delusion.
Can I say something?
Hold on, James. Kev, see, I'm really, and I'm gonna stay just on one point so you don't get confused. But I'm really taken aback at how clueless you are about the very thing that you were defending. You keep saying men don't have the luxury to X, Y, and Z.
No, we don't.
But here's the thing. There are millions online as delusional is what we're talking about. These are the men, okay, who are not accepting that they are average at best, and they're living vicariously through the talking points of a Kevin Samuels, of Fresh and Fit, because they refuse, as I said earlier, they refuse to accept that they are average and below. So what they do is they weaponize Kevin Samuels and they weaponize Fresh and Fit against the women they don't qualify for. That's as simple as I can say it. So for you to say men don't have the luxury and men can't do it, men have to accept that they're not as good. They do not accept it. That is why these people are making millions of dollars, because men are not accepting that they are below average. So they're weaponizing these podcasters. How is that hard to understand? You haven't seen that? You haven't witnessed that?
Okay. So now I'm gonna ask for studies and some kind of data or something, right? Because
What?
you're saying something that's very subjective. You're just saying something that's very subjective. Most men are this, most men are that.
Let's go to their page real quick. Hold on, let me go to their page real quick.
Please pull up a Kevin Samuels video and then look at the comments. So you don't read the comments either?
Right.
You don't see what men are saying about these women? Really?
Okay. So
are we addressing looks or behavior?
Fresh and Fit has 1.2. Fresh and Fit has 1.2 million followers. Kevin Samuels has 1.78 million followers. These are the men that we're describing.
No.
Okay.
No.
And
no.
So.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're in that followers list, so you feel it that way, James.
No, we're gonna stay on black men. So there's like what 20 million plus of us, right? Black men, right? There's 20 million plus of us. So out of the million who listen, so a million men out of 20 million plus. That's a nominal.
Okay,
that's a nominal number to me.
This is real simple math.
Well, I mean, you can give up, but I'm just gonna. The thing is that you're giving up because you're not being.
It's not an intelligent conversation.
You're not being effective in your conversation.
No, it's not being effective. You are draining because you're pretending to be.
Well, because I'm providing counterpoints that you guys can't substantiate.
This is willful ignorance. Are you a fan?
Not willful anything, man. Look,
Samuels.
I've heard some. I've listened to some of his show enough to get an idea of what it is he does.
Okay. Who are you a fan of on YouTube? Who's your favorite YouTuber?
I mean, I don't necessarily have, I do like Medium Man. I do listen to some people from the Black Manosphere, Red Pill Manosphere. I listen to. I also listen. I listen to you.
O'Shea.
I listen to female creators also, and periodically I listen to just to see what the women are saying.
Okay, let's stick to the Manosphere and the Red Pill. I'm talking about the collection of men. You've never seen the comments that they make about women in those chats. I'm sure you're in the chats.
Yeah, and I make some comments myself. The thing is that if I'm criticizing something, I criticize behavior. Your looks is immaterial to me. All this other stuff. I'm not going to criticize a woman for her looks or how heavy she is and all this other stuff. I don't care about that. If that's an issue for a woman, then she's got to fix that on her own. I'm talking about behavior that's actually destructive. All right, something that's not helping black women or black men or the community writ large. That's what I'm talking about. If I'm not making that clear, because I would criticize negative behavior for men too. We got men who aren't doing the stuff they're supposed to do. So I would criticize that.
Okay, so you would also criticize.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, absolutely.
You would also criticize the podcasters in the Manosphere and the Red Pill who are being destructive in their own communities by telling women their wombs are no good. No one gives a fuck about your master's degree. Men don't care about that. You have to be fit, feminine, and friendly, and that's all that matters. So you would criticize that too, because wouldn't you say that a woman without a degree is going to make less money? She's going to be less intelligent. You don't think that's destructive to tell a woman her college degree doesn't matter? You don't think that's destructive?
I personally wouldn't say that. I would actually encourage women to have degrees. My wife has a degree, so I like women with degrees. They're smart. They're generally smart women.
So a man, your wife has a degree. So a man that would tell a woman, nobody gives a fuck about your degree. You don't think that that's destructive to the community?
So the problem when they say stuff like that is they need to do a better job of framing that, in the sense that your degree is an added benefit to what you are, that gets them the initial interest, which is your attraction, right? So can we agree to this, that men generally, if we're attracted to, and I don't know how women, because I'm not a woman, I don't think like y'all, but I know that men generally, the reason we're interested in you is based off how you look. That would be the first reason. Now after that, we start going down the checklist. Are you going to be a great wife? Are you going to be a great mother? How intelligent are you? How responsible are you? Are you even compatible with us, right? What's your personality? See, so I look at it like this. If you're a woman I'm not even attracted to, I wouldn't even talk to you. I'm not going to criticize you for the way you look. I'm just not going to deal with you.
That's because you're doing a lot of I, me. And we were on the subject of Kevin Samuels and podcasts being destructive, right? So let me say this.
Go ahead.
Okay, you just said they need to frame it better.
They could absolutely frame it better.
The Kevin Samuels and the like chose not to frame it like that because you know why? He chose to say it the way he said it. Nobody gives a fuck about your degree. You're average at best. You're fat. Nobody wants you and your 2 kids. After 35, you're left over. Why do you think, simple question, why do you think Kevin Samuels framed it like that? Not that he should have framed it better, because I know you're going to say he could have said it in a better way.
He absolutely could have, yeah.
He chose not to. Why do you think he chose not to?
I'm not really sure. I would guess that it was probably triggering the women and it probably drew in fans, I suppose. Would that be the reason?
Yes, that's exact. See, we're getting some. That's exactly the reason. Now, why you said it drew in fans? Why would somebody be drawn to someone bashing black women like that? Why would one be drawn to that? Why would they
can I
be
get
drawn?
in this?
I think Kev, and then you can answer because I know your answer. You're Kevin Samuels' minion. Kev C. Why would they be drawn to that type of bashing? Why would those men be drawn to that? Who are these men?
I mean, look, I'm not too sure about. I try to think about. I try to frame it in the way that I would think about it, so I can't really,
But
try
we
to figure
shared
out
it with
what
you, and you
those
told
guys
us
would
that
do.
it was wrong. We shared it who they were, but if you're not so sure,
you
and
guys
you just didn't like our answer. That's
you guys
all it
aren't being
was.
very
Just say
specific
that.
about. You guys aren't being very specific about numbers and the way you're. Okay, so I can agree that you guys don't like Kevin Samuels and
No. Don't say that. We don't have no problem with Kevin Samuels.
Well, that's the way it's coming off. The fact that the fact that he said that women 35 and older and something about the wombs. Look, I would never say that because men shouldn't be saying that because I know that's very personal to women, right? When you start talking about reproduction and a whole bunch of other stuff, you start talking about their looks. If you criticize and just leave it at behavior, then you're going to be good as a man. You're going to be good talking about anybody, man, woman, even children, right? But when you start talking, when you make it personal, when you start talking about their looks, even Shahrazad Ali, you guys know who she is, right? Which she's respected to some extent in the black, among black men. Even she said she didn't like how he personalized it towards the women. When she criticized black women, she kept it very general. She didn't individualize it. She was not personal, and she talked about behavior. If men keep it that way, then you can't argue against it. Now, can you?
So let me say this about your leaders, the Shahar Ali, the Kevin Samuels, y'all leaders, the leaders that black people pick on social media. Okay, y'all leaders. These are y'all leaders. Okay, it's laughable.
Okay,
y'all lead. Let me talk about y'all leaders, the people y'all look up to. They're always if it's a woman, she's attacking women, right? Your leaders. If it's a black woman, she's going to do one or two things to get money online. She's either going to attack men viciously, or she's going to attack women viciously, although she's a black woman, because it pulls in men, right? One or two things. That's what they're going to do. They're never going to be neutral. They're not going to make any money if they're neutral with y'all, because y'all need vitriol on one side or the other. They're never going to be neutral. You're never going to see a black woman or a black man online loving both genders and explaining how both genders are wrong. You're always going to have one either bashing black men or bashing black women, because it pulls y'all in. You people that can't do accountability. You like to live vicariously through somebody saying women ain't shit or men ain't shit. And your scapegoat, okay? I'm not going to let you slide out of here with, well, I could tell you don't like Kevin Samuels. I said over and over again, I don't have an issue with Kevin Samuels or a Cynthia G. Y'all have an issue with Cynthia G. Y'all can't admit that they are the same motherfucker.
Well, they aren't.
No, they're not.
See,
No,
that's
they're
the
not.
They aren't.
See, that's the problem.
No, they're
No,
not.
There is
no,
the
no,
problem right
ma'am, you said
there.
that. You said that. So you gotta, you said that. So you gotta let me explain. No, you gotta let me explain. You said that. You're saying the exact same thing. I'm telling you they're not, and I need to tell you why.
I
Are you
want to
gonna
hear
allow
why.
that?
I'm curious. I want to hear.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay, so Cynthia G started. She said ridiculous things like, terminate black male babies. She said ridiculous things like she all she did was basically, now here's what she did do well. She actually did call out black men and their negative behavior. What she didn't do well was actually live up to the standards of behavior that she actually, was espousing. She herself went out and found that.
Whoa,
No.
hold on. Wait.
Pause, because it's late. Pause, because it's late. Kevin Samuels was twice divorced, single, and late on his child support. So
Was he?
please, you're going
And
to
died underneath a prostitute.
Whoa.
He
One
didn't
mic,
die
one
underneath a
one
prostitute.
mic,
Why?
one mic. Sorry, it is late, and y'all are not gonna fuck with me on this Good Friday night. Okay, when you have an argument, she didn't live up to it. Your boy. Okay, who you're saying is not exactly like Cynthia G. Now mind you, I'm saying again, I don't knock the hustle. They the same motherfucker. Neither one of them lived up to their words. Not Cynthia G and not Kevin Samuels. Okay, these people figured out they gotta hustle. Black people are broken folk. They're hurt. They're insecure, and they fucking hate each other. So just like those white supremacists y'all keep talking about, they figured out all we got to do is pander to these stupid motherfuckers, and they will super chat us into a mansion. And that is what the fuck they do. Men and women, and the church does that too, because y'all are easy prey. Very easy, very fucking emotional people. Kevin Samuels was twice divorced, single, and died on top of a fucking hooker who was Mexican. She wasn't even black. Cynthia G, same thing. According to y'all, she got pregnant with a Dusty. She was single and miserable. They are the same motherfucker. You know who else is the same motherfucker? All you people that spend money and can spend countless hours watching them because they tickle your ears. They are the same motherfucker. So for your defense to be, but Cynthia G didn't, but Cynthia G didn't live up to what she was saying. Neither did your godfather. Neither did he. He was single and fucking smoked on a Mexicana. Habla mucho español, papi. So for all the people that was like, he was about the black community. He was drinking tequila with Maria before he died. Are you people retarded?
What does it matter that he's having sex
What does it
with?
matter? Yeah.
Like, you're bringing it. Look, Miss Jenny. Look, I like you, but you're introducing non sequiturs, right? You're introducing stuff that doesn't even matter.
Okay.
So
Doesn't
It don't matter now, huh? I bet it don't matter now.
You're talking about.
It doesn't matter when it's on Kevin's side. It matters when it's on Cynthia G's side. I got it. James, go ahead and say something.
Listen.
Well, hold on. Wait.
Let James talk because he's been sitting patiently waiting.
Yeah. And I'm gonna get out of here in a second. It's funny looking at these panels sometimes
30
and
minutes
hearing people and hearing people tell people who they can't date. That's crazy to me, because I'm like, I thought it was like acceptance and everything. But apparently some people can't date other people, but we're supposed to accept people dating everybody. But what I was going to say about Kevin Samuels is the majority of the people that listen to him was black
Wait, what are you talking about? Let's go a step at a time. What the fuck are you talking about? People are saying who you can't date. What are you talking about now, James? What are you talking about?
It's okay what's wrong with him sleeping with a Hispanic lady?
Okay, so let me correct you. We're going to go step by step. Let me correct you. Kevin Samuels, you, him, her, him, whoever could date whoever the fuck they want. So let me explain to you what I meant by he died on a Mexicana. Okay, let me explain to you what I meant for all the slow lurkers too. Okay, y'all claim that he was about the black community, about black love, about black empowerment. He was marrying black people. He wanted black men and black women to get together and get married and live harmoniously forever. However, he divorced 2 black women and he wasn't taking care of his black daughter by her own admission. So for this man to die on a Mexican woman, Does it not raise an eyebrow? Why wouldn't he be with a black woman that night? It shows hypocrisy, and that's why I'm bringing it up. Now, I don't give a fuck who dates who, because it's not me. I don't give a fuck who dates who. However, a man that is claiming to be all about black love and black people and black marriage and black children, for him to fucking kill over on a Mexican bitch,
Well, it aligns with everything he talked about, because even he talked about Maria, Mei Ling, Marisol. So it aligned with what he talked about in his show.
So then why was he talking about black people? If he was a swirler, then black women were not his business.
He never said you couldn't date outside your race. He never said he was some pro-black Dr. Umar. You know what I mean?
Y'all claimed he was about the black family. Y'all constantly say he was about putting black men and black women together. Y'all said that about your father, not me. Y'all said that. You all. Are you taking that back now?
Because you said it several times. You said it several times on the show, James.
So he could be he could want to get black families back together.
But his dick is not.
But still not think there's nothing wrong with interracial dating. You know what I mean?
So his dick is not pro-black, but he is.
Harry Belafonte was interracially dated, but would you say he wasn't pro-black?
No, he was pro-black, but his dick wasn't. He's just a person too.
Civil rights. It's plenty of civil rights
but they could be pro-black, but their dick is not.
That were pro-black. He can date who? Listen. So Lily. So you're telling me who can date who? That's what you're telling me.
No, I'm saying he's pro-black. His dick is not. That's all I'm saying.
So
that's just the fact. That's his observation.
For him to date her.
I didn't say wrong. You said wrong. You're taking it as wrong. I said he's pro-black. His dick is not. You heard he's wrong.
Okay. Well, fine. Let's get away from that. Either way, he's way different than Cynthia G. First of all, and that's why he had a different level of success. If he was still here, he was going mainstream.
No, he had a different level of success because there are more loser men online than there are loser women. That is why he had more success. That is why he had more success. There are more men, there are more loser men online crying about women than there are women. Let's be clear.
Jen, let me honestly ask you this. Honestly. So you're telling me if you go online, you'll see more misogyny than you see misandry. So you're really telling me that if you go online, you'll see more women holding themselves accountable than men holding themselves accountable. You're really telling me that?
What I'm telling you is that black men and black women hate each other. That is what I said. I am doubling down on it. That is what I said. The second thing I said is neither side holds themselves accountable. And when a Cynthia G or a Kevin Samuels pops up, everybody circle jerks in their chat because they're not going to hold themselves accountable. They're gonna complain about the Pookie and Ray Rays or the Keishas instead of holding themselves accountable. That is what I am saying. That is what I said.
Okay, I'm gonna make this last statement, then I'm gonna get out of here. Let me just make this last statement. See, people have no problem holding black men accountable. That's been happening for the last 40 years. That's where you get bums, black unemployed males, deadbeat dads. Even Oprah talked about it. Society has no issue holding black men accountable. What's not new and what's unusual is any level of criticism towards African-American women. I'm not talking about insulting them. I'm along with Kev C. I'm not talking about degrading their looks or their weight or anything like that. I mean, if you have any level of reasonable, skeptical criticism about their behavior, you get told you hate black women. So that's the difference between Kevin Samuels and Cynthia G. Kevin Samuels could just say constructive criticism towards black women. And anybody on the internet, me, Kev C, anybody who says anything constructive, anything remotely fair, if you say anything critical of black women, then you hate black women. But you can spout all the misandry you want. You can say all the evil things. I say it all the time. If I came up here and said black man won't shit, y'all would love me. You would love me.
What?
Here? I don't know. I know.
Yes.
You know, James has a different filter in his ear. He has a filter that he puts in his ear to hear something
on
different.
This panel, if you came up on this panel and said black men wearing shit, we would be like, oh my God, James, you finally said, like, really, James? So here's the thing.
Just meet the brothers on the panel real quick before I'm out of here. What's the
Okay.
average? What's the average salary of the black man?
About 42. It's about $8,000 less than the average salary of a white man. A white man is 48.
Okay.
I think a black man is
Okay,
42.
absolutely.
No, I thought
Okay,
it was
all right.
I thought it was about 48 for black men and a little bit higher for a white man.
Yeah, and maybe something like that.
It's like no, it's like 48.
The point of the matter is,
So, yeah.
the matter is that we're disproportionately, you know what I mean, in a gap between our white counterparts. Can we agree on that, gentlemen?
Not
Okay,
that
you know
much
what?
lower.
So
Not that much
I'm sorry. What's your name, sir? Up top, what you call you, DeMarco? Yeah.
Yes.
So okay.
Is there
So
listen. I just have to get through this. Okay. Is there a gap in terms of in terms of
there's a gap. You know why there's a gap? Yeah, there's a gap. You know why there's a gap?
Okay. Wait.
Okay,
one
then we're
second.
good. Then we're
Yes.
good. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's
You know
a gap.
exactly why there's a gap. So let's
no,
not do
y'all
that.
love. We know you love excuses.
Listen,
hold
yes,
on one
No,
second.
that's not
Wow,
excuses.
yeah.
There, it is what it is.
It's called
Listen.
history.
I have to finish. Now the gap is going to continue to widen. Do you understand why the gap is going to continue to widen?
Absolutely. I know why it's going to widen. Yeah.
Why? Why is the gap going to continue to widen, sir?
Well, you know, there's some things that's in place that's going to happen to actually widen that gap. There's a few things that are going on that's a whole lot bigger than this conversation right here. I would actually rather, you know, talk about it to you directly versus, you know, yeah, on a black channel versus, yeah, that's probably more of a black conversation.
On a what? On a what? On a black
On a
channel.
black
versus
channel.
what?
Yeah,
Cool.
I'll
are you
make you
black?
feel more comfortable.
Yeah,
Listen.
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you got a mixed group of people here, so yeah,
Listen.
He
folks,
wants to talk
please.
amongst the black.
yeah, because it's a
Listen.
black issue. It's not y'all's issue. Yeah.
Listen.
Well, y'all,
Okay.
y'all, we're saying y'all are like, y'all hate each other.
Yeah,
Y'all
black
hate each
issue.
other.
it is a black issue.
Shut the fuck up, man. God
That's
damn.
on the Mexican, so it
Everybody
wasn't.
calm down.
He didn't
Let
mind
me
the Latinas.
finish.
You didn't mind the Latinas, Kev?
Now, anti-intellectualism continues to proliferate in the community. Anti-college, anti-trade school, growing illiteracy amongst our children in the community, so on and so forth. Now, this kind of culture, it's counterproductive in the fourth industrial revolution, which is essentially driven by technology and intellectual
Absolutely, yeah.
capital.
Mhm.
Now, out of the trough of this culture, productive men mostly won't emerge from this. Now, if a growing number of unproductive black men, you know what I mean, becomes the norm, then this kind of conversation that we're having about unproductive black men, it exacerbates. It essentially becomes, you know what I mean, a lot bigger than it actually is. And the solution becomes far more complex than the problem. But here's the kicker. You can actually make money. These dudes that we're discussing right now, they're actually going to continue to make money off of these fucking losers. Because at some point in time, someone's going to tell them that it is not their fault that they're actually not productive. It's not their fault that they actually cannot compete in today's society. This is it. Now, with that being said, I also want to put out there, and you can do your research on this. Cynthia G started out pro-black than a motherfucker. And she was talking about black families and so on and so forth. That shit didn't catch a lick. It caught a lick when she started talking about fuck these dudes. Same shit with Kevin.
And Kevin Samuels started as what? And Kevin Samuels started as what? But then when did he blow up?
Bashing black women.
Yeah, well, I did concede. So Miss Jenny, I did concede your point that he actually could have framed his discussions a whole lot better than what he did. We can agree to that, right?
I've been saying that. Yeah.
Okay, and we did, and I did say that, you know, if you're going to criticize him at all, I would say that his talking points probably should have been framed better. Women did criticize him for his tone. They didn't like, and you actually had women who agreed with, you know, a good bit of what he said. They just, you know, didn't like the insults and stuff like that. That made the show entertaining. You don't need all of that stuff. And to this gentleman's point here, he's right. But this conversation that you're talking about as it relates to the men who aren't going to be productive, that's their fault, by the way. But then you have to figure out why they're not productive and why they're not doing what it is they're supposed to do as men. There's actual reasons for that. I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you there's reasons for that. Right. Well, and the main thing, and I would say the main thing goes back, and I would say the main thing goes back to the construct of the family. I would say that if you know, outside of getting too much deep into it in mixed company, Because I imagine the nice lady up here, Miss Jenny, she's not black. I imagine she's Puerto Rican or something like that. And then this gentleman here, he appears to be non-black. He appears to be white or something. That's fine.
Let me, I'm just, I love
I
that.
missed my insult. I want to hear mine. You were
No, I'm assuming you're a black woman, right?
okay, yeah.
Okay, but in mixed company, so what's supposed to happen? Hypothetically, you go have a conversation with Haran DeMarco behind the scenes. Wait, let me finish.
If he wants to come to another platform where there's a bunch of black men talking, yeah.
Without the mixed company, what are you gonna do? What's the result?
What do you mean? We'll have a more honest and deeper conversation.
Right, and then what? What's the result?
Men get better. What do you mean? What's the result?
Men get better, like you and Haran.
Men get better and women get better. That's the point.
No. You specifically go have a conversation with Haran DeMarco away from mixed company. What happens? You two are just talking. What happens?
We talk a little bit deeper as to what the actual real problems are.
Okay, and then what happens?
Yeah.
So then what happens?
And then we disseminate that information, right?
And then, so y'all have a conversation, and then what gets better? I'm confused.
Why would you be confused when the idea is to actually have conversations, identify the problems, come up with solutions, then actually implement those solutions?
But you're a man of age. How old are you?
I'm in my 50s. Yeah,
you're in your 50s. So you've been having this conversation outside of mixed company, right? You've been talking to other black men about this, right?
No, I generally talk to black men. I'm not worried about what non-black men are not doing or not.
Okay,
That's
so what has
I'm
improved?
sure they can solve their own problems. They don't need my help.
So what has improved since you've been having these conversations? What has improved?
What has improved?
What has improved in your community? What has improved in your community since every
so,
time you have?
So it's very interesting that so. Are you an expert on Black American history, culture, people, and stuff like that?
I am.
Are you? You got some kind of certifications or something, or like
as many certifications as you have? I do. So answer the question. Yeah, I do. So answer the question.
Okay, now you're gonna have to explain to me what your certs are.
No,
you're avoiding, sir. Just answer the question, like for real.
No, I'm not avoiding anything. I do not want to listen to somebody who is not black tell me what Black history, culture,
She's not telling you. She's asking you. She's asking you questions. She's not telling you anything. She's asking you questions.
I'm just asking.
I just said that if Mr. DeMarco and I have a deep, intellectual conversation about what changes can be made and what we can do and all this other stuff, then that's more of an issue between him and I, black men, right?
And then what's going to improve? What are you and Haran DeMarco going to do to improve the community?
You improve black men by virtue of that. You actually improve the women too. You improve the overall community. That's what's supposed to happen.
I'm asking you for tangible evidence. You have this conversation, and you and Haran DeMarco are going to hit the streets, start a nonprofit, help the black homeless. What are you going to do?
Oh, slow down. Why don't I just raise? How about I just raise my kids and do that? Why don't I just start there and raise them to be productive adults? How about I do that?
So every person has to take care of their own unit, right? Every person has to be productive and take care of their own unit, right?
That's the smallest. When you start talking about community, that's the smallest structure of a community. Yeah, the family.
Right.
Unit.
Okay. So then it's bullshit that you and Haran DeMarco are going to get together and talk and improve the community. Right?
Why is that bullshit?
Haran, he's quite busy. I don't really imagine him getting the street.
We can improve that.
So no. So DeMarco, you married with kids? Are you married with just not to get too personal, but are you married with kids?
I am not.
Are you married with kids? Okay. All right. So if I imagine he's a productive man, so he's doing what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's fine right there. All of this, all that stuff you just mentioned, all of this nonprofits and all this other stuff, community, whatever. Just take care of your family, take care of yourself, be productive, and take care of your family. Raise your kids to be productive adults. How hard is that?
And guess what? The irony of this, the irony of you saying that is a very practical solution. However, the average motherfucker can't even get that shit done because you got motherfuckers out here actually running around. Well, brother, I'm not going to go on in circles with you. Maybe we will have a conversation out of this. This is we already going on 2 hours and 30 minutes. This is not how I'm spending my Friday. But, okay, overall, I'm going to sit here and tell you this. A loser is a loser. And men like yourself and I, we would have still been on a productive road, even if we had not crossed paths once in our lives.
I would agree with that.
Their lives is the difference. their lives
I'm
are
assuming
different. And that is
the one thing I would say about Mr. DeMarco is I'm assuming by virtue of this conversation, you're already a productive man. The way you're interacting with me, I assume you to be productive. I wouldn't, you and I wouldn't have any issues or problems. I mean, we might have some
No.
disagreements on some on
Absolutely.
strategy
That's
and
right.
and,
That's
and
men,
strategy, procedure, and execution. But as far as productivity, you and I wouldn't have a problem with you. All right.
And I respect your perspective. You're a respectable man. You came up here, you know what I mean, held your ground and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
My hat's off to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just wanted to point to why Miss Jenny and then this other nice lady was wrong on some of the talking points. Because you ladies are wrong, and the way I told you what I was talking to about Kevin Samuels and how he could have framed everything that he was talking about a whole lot better. He didn't do that, so but it made him money. So you can call it a grift or whatever and all that other stuff. I would have done something different, and to some extent, and I want to be real careful about this because a lot of people still do like Kevin Samuels. There was some criticism of him as it relates to that, specifically from women and some from the men. And my argument always is criticize the behavior. You're not going to go wrong with that. Don't criticize, don't attack, don't. So when you in any kind of civil discussion is a hallmark of what intelligent debate is a hallmark of civilization and polite discussion, right? That being said, the second you start to insult somebody, you've already lost the debate. So you focus on the argument, the talking points, and you focus on the behavior. If somebody's demonstrating negative behavior, you criticize that, you focus on that, and you talk about corrective action for that negative behavior. That's what you do.
So you want to know what's interesting? We've been going around in circles about like what makes Kevin Samuels and Cynthia.
Well, I'm right. You guys are wrong. I'm right. You guys are wrong.
I'm clear. We're not going to even debate that because
I'm right. There's no debate.
No, you are because you.
Yeah, I'm absolutely correct.
I get it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
I think there's a factory. Mr. Research, is that you?
I know. It's like the same person. It's the same exact person.
Well, I'm right. You guys are wrong.
This shit's like. No.
I do appreciate you letting me up, though. I do appreciate you letting me up. You could have shut me out. So.
Thank you for coming up. And thank you for coming up.
If I'm allowed to ask a question.
This
conversation. First of all,
sir, is it about black people?
No, it's about you.
Non-black people are not allowed to ask questions about black people.
Look, okay. Let me, you know what, sir? I wasn't fair. I didn't give you a chance. I'll go ahead and listen to the question first.
No, I'm just curious. What are you? Just to know a little bit more about you, because I heard you say some things, and listen, I'm privy to plenty of all black channels. It's not, they don't just block, they don't have an ID for you to come in. So I've been on plenty of black, even in the chat, just listening and observing. So it's not like you're going to give away some secret or anything like that when you're talking about these things. And it's good to discuss things. But my question to you is, are you a black separatist?
So good fences do make good neighbors. I would go with that.
Okay.
I'm not going to say separatist because separatist kind of sounds like not
racist. I'm not saying racist necessarily.
No, well, separatist it kind of leans towards nationalism. I'll just say good fences make good neighbors. People with shared cultures, values, traditions, and beliefs probably should be together. I'll say that.
Okay, that's fair.
But good fences do make good neighbors, right?
Yeah, I just want to know where you were coming from because, and another thing is when we talk about it, what do you think? I'll ask you, what do you think is making the difference between like the $8,000 gap? Because when I look at it, the average, right? The average. So there's obviously there's a lot more in this country, white billionaires and millionaires that is going to bring the overall average of what they say white people make is, right? It's going to bring it up. There's less black millionaires and billionaires. So so I'm just curious, what is, and obviously, the poverty rate is higher in the black community as well. So that's going to bring down some people. So I am curious if you want, I don't know if we have time today, but I would like to listen to that conversation to see what your point of view is.
So the reason I could give you some kind of response, but I'll go ahead and preface it with this. The reason I don't like talking to non-black people about these kind of issues is because when I start going into it, you guys really, like you say, you're right. You can go to any black channel and listen, but it doesn't matter because you don't live the black experience and you don't have to live and deal with what the issues that black men have to deal with.
Yeah.
Right. You're a non-black man. You know that, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so your experience in the United States of America is much different than mine.
Sure.
I have to understand that I have to move, act, behave, and operate in a way that's much different than the way. Are you Hispanic or white or?
No, I'm white.
Okay, so all right, so yeah, you can operate in a way that I can't, and that's just the reality of it. And when I go into that's why you can literally come to any black channel and listen, but I will tell you that just because you listen doesn't mean you're going to get it, doesn't mean you're going to understand.
I get.
And then the one thing I see with a lot of non-black people is then to them it starts to sound like, oh, you guys are just talking, you're making excuses and this, that, and the third, and you're not taking accountability. And that's not necessarily the case.
No, yeah,
you can argue two things. You can argue accountability. You can argue external issues and problems and all this other stuff that has nothing to do with us. We agree to that.
Yeah, and when I say I do listen to get a better understanding, but I do realize that you can never fully have the understanding unless you go through certain things. But you can have a better understanding than just not listening to the other side, right? Like,
okay, yeah, I would say non-black people need to listen to black people more. Just just actually listen and then go off and do the research and listen to what we talk about, and actually do the research to support what it is we're talking about. And that would be my challenge. That would be my challenge to non-black people.
Yeah,
that's what I would challenge y'all to. Because you got Miss Jenny here, and she's a nice lady, but you say you understand black people, culture, history, traditions, and all this other stuff, and lived experiences. I can guarantee you don't. You live around black people, you hanging around black people that does not get it. You gotta be black.
Calm down, Chuck D. Let me ask you this: do you think that black people? Because I know a lot of black people think this. Do you think that black people own the patent to oppression, suppression, racism? Do you think you're the only ones in this country that have the boot of white supremacy and oppression on your neck? It belongs to you. Because I know a lot of black people, they covet oppression. It is part of your psyche. It is part of your character. Half the time you can't even speak without saying, hi, I'm black. I'm oppressed in this country. So, but do you think that black people are the only ones, not only in this country, on planet Earth, that have suffered under the boot of white supremacy? Because you speak that way. You speak like
absolutely not.
Black people. So
short answer to your question, absolutely not. The difference is black people are targeted the most under that system. That's the difference. According to
you.
Whoa. Slow down. According to me, that's literally those are literally the facts.
Yeah, because I was like targeted. No, last time I was targeted was by another black person.
Okay, so yeah, I hate when black people do this thing where they do that.
I know black people that say racism doesn't even exist. It doesn't touch them. They're successful. So why is it that you still think that you are the most oppressed being in America? And I know black people are like, that shit ain't fucking with me. I do what the fuck I want to do. I'm a free person. I can say what I want. But you are still like, no, it's different for us.
That's not what I said. I said that. So you asked me a question, right, Miss Jenny? You said because your point is this. Your point is that it's basically supremacy affects everybody: Asians, Hispanics, probably white people, poor whites to some extent, if you can argue that point. But again, I'm not worried about what it is they got going on over there. My whole thing is that when you look throughout history, when you look about what's from in North America all the way up to the United States, its inception, all the way up until present day, black people have been targeted the most. Black men specifically. That's just the truth. You don't know the history of America.
So presently, black people are targeted more by black people than each other.
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
So yeah, and I think the nice lady up here with the blonde hair probably needs to be careful, saying stuff like that. That's not what I'm.
I don't have to be careful saying anything, sir.
But that's
what we not going. That's what we're not going to do in this Good Friday.
You're trying to insinuate that somehow black people are. You saying you're not?
No, I don't need to insinuate anything. What did you need to know what I'm saying? Because I'll let you know clearly.
Are you saying that black people are somehow systemically oppressing each other? Because that doesn't sound.
No, I will say this. I wouldn't say oppressing. I would say horrible to each other. We are horrible to each other.
There's a segment of the black population that I would agree with that. There's a segment of the black population that mistreats each other. Yeah, we do have segments. We do have offshoots and segments and branches of specific people within the black population, both men and women on both sides, who do not treat each other in a way that's positive. I would agree to that.
So what
Well,
about
there were
when
black
you're
slave
talking
owners at
about?
one point in time.
What's that?
We do remember that there were black slave owners at one point in time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah, but they didn't
And
run
we
the
do-
institution.
we-
So what?
And can we agree that under that blacks were very helpful during the hard hit of crack in the 80s in decimating their own community? They were very willing to decimate their own community. Can we agree to that?
Okay, I'll say they facilitated to some extent. How did all those drugs get in there, by the way? Oh no, let's do this. Let's do this because you brought it up. Let's do this. How did all those drugs get in there? How did all the drugs get in there in the first place?
Pardon?
How did all those drugs get in there in the first place?
We're not going to
Into
talk
those
about
black
how it got
areas?
here. No,
We're not going to. See, this is part of the problem. This is part of the problem when people bring up that argument. I've been through this before.
That we don't own. It came through
I've been through this
boats that
before.
we don't own. Yes.
No. So
It came
here's
through
I'm gonna tell you why your argument breaks down already. Because what you're doing is you're saying, look, we're gonna take a group of people who are resource deprived, politically, educationally, economically, everything else, and then we're gonna throw some junk into their communities, and then you know what? While they're all resource deprived in several different ways, they better not touch anything negative. They better not do anything negative. And you can argue that point. That is their fault for their individual behavior. The other part of it too is, what about the conditions that created that situation in the first place? You didn't see that in other communities.
Essentially, what you're saying is that due to the conditions that were created, they should be excused for the fact that they essentially served up people who look like themselves to the fodder. Now, keep that in mind. What is
No, I'm not saying that at all. I said,
wait, 1 second. Let me finish the point. Let me finish the point. What is the excuse of Africans selling black people into slavery? The Muslims, to be exact, the Muslims who sold us into slavery, the African Muslims that sold us into slavery.
that was absolutely wrong. I agree with you on that. That was absolutely the wrong thing to do.
So
you know what else is wrong? You know what else is wrong? For anybody to participate.
Do you mind if I interject?
You know, look, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna shut down the Africans sold Africans argument right now. It was absolutely wrong for them to do that. But you know what else was wrong for everybody else who agreed to actually participate in trafficking and trafficking the transatlantic and sub-Saharan slave trade and all that other stuff. It was wrong for them to do that too.
Okay,
See, when somebody offers you something, you don't have to say yes.
Pass the mic. Hold on.
Before we
pass the mic, thank you for the super chat, Fahim Jackson. Fahim Jackson says Nigerian American black men out-earn their white male counterparts. If we color constructed, why aren't they held down like us? Why do they achieve despite being black walking society? Another thing I want to say is, I know we go back. I want to pass the mic to Keith Wade, but we constantly go back hundreds and hundreds of years, right? Black people slowed black people into slavery. There were black slave owners.
I didn't bring it up. He did. I never did that.
Okay, but it's funny how there's this emphasis on white supremacy and white people. I know it's the big scary monster under the bed, right? But when black people come into power, say like a Mona Scott Young, say like a what's his name, Luell Plummer, say like these
Diddy.
people get Diddy, right? The first and most profitable resource is black people, making black people look like dancing clowns, putting black women against black women, having them roll around on the ground, drunk, high, angry, fighting. These are black people putting this content out. Now that they have their own streaming networks, they're acting just like the white people that you're complaining about. So it seems to me like a power thing more than a race thing, because when black people come into power, they use black people the same way white people use black people. Stop the cat. On that note, let me pass the mic to Keith Wade because we don't got a lot of time. And Keith is.
Ooh, I like it. She did that, boy. She put that right on black people real quick. But she defended that. She defended.
I'm gonna mute your mic because you're long-winded. Keith, go on, please.
All right. First of all, thanks for having me. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was watching TV and I saw it and I heard this discussion. I was like, I've been trying to talk about this forever. So it's just like a godsend. But I want to address a couple things that I heard throughout the conversation just very quickly. Number one, the reason why Kev was wrong, he should have said, yes, we do own the rights or the whatever analogy or term you use about oppression here in America as Black Americans, because it's not because other Africans didn't sold us into slavery. It's not about all these other institutions and that other people have not been oppressed. The reason being is because the first time in any history of oppression or slavery, we here in this country were seen as a piece of property and not recognized as human beings. We were split up, we were divided, we were treated as cattle, and no other Jews, anybody race can say that they've been treated as such as we as Black Americans have. The second part to that is that we still to this day are living in and we see the which is I think why we argue so much about these other issues, about the socioeconomic issues and things like that, because these other things start to tie into that, right? We see it with Native Americans, but they've got a form of reparations. We've never been reparated too. So that's another reason. And then somebody made a comment about the Nigerian Americans. I don't like being called African Americans. I'm not African. Matter of fact, I looked at my genetics, I did 23andMe. I'm a third Northwestern European. So there's nothing, I'm not even mostly, am I sub-Saharan African or am I Northern African, which is not even considered in this country to be African or Black. It's considered to be white if I'm from the Middle East. So there's all these different classes and things like that. And this is the truth. So how do we get past this? How do we project? How do we solve this issue? The way we solve this issue is we have to, I like what you said, stop the cap. Let's be good about it. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it a stack and address the issues. We don't, number one, as Black Americans, we do not keep our agenda, our agenda. We always have to partner up with somebody, whether that's the LGBTQ, IA plus community, whatever they're called now. I don't know what that group is. I see LGBTQ, then I see IA, I see plus. So I just want to make sure I'm making the right term here. But that community, we've partnered up with them. We've partnered up with the Hispanics, and we've seen as the Hispanics have raised their population here and they've gotten more prosperity, they have lopped off from us. They are their own single entity. They do not consider Black and brown pride anymore like that. You have a very small group that's represented in America, Asian Americans, Southeast Asian Americans, particularly like the Japanese, Chinese, etc. They've gone through a lot. Look at the concentration camps during World War II. Look at how Chinese Americans were treated during the railroad, but they don't associate with us because we are a second-class citizen in this community. Now, this is what shows our strength, is that we've been able to, what was the statistic a couple years ago? We've made $1.8 trillion, $1.8 trillion as a population in America. But how much do we own? We own nothing. So we have no rights and no real access to anything. All we have is run by night wealth that doesn't even stay within our community. Look at the Jews, other communities. Their dollars stay in the community for 30 days.
Keith, I have a question. Whose fault is it that our money doesn't stay in our community?
Well, that's a complex question, because you would think now that we know better, we should do better, right? But the truth of the matter is that the mentality that was forced upon us when they broke up our families, and even if you look at systemic racism, the push of the Black man from the home by giving Black women incentives for them not being at home, for us getting locked up. I mean, think about it. The corporate America owns 90% of the correctional system. So that's new slavery. There's people making money off of Black being incarcerated. And then you look back, you look at the feminist movement. I believe that's damaged Black women the most. We know, if you look at EEO, right? EEO, who is affirmative action profited and benefited the most? The white American woman.
Let me jump in real quick, but just so we don't go in circles. Really quickly back to something Kev C said. He was like, well, you put it on the Black people real fast. I didn't put it on the Black people. I was giving you facts of Black network streamers. They use Black people to their advantage, and use degeneracy of Black people to their advantage. So I didn't put it on anything. I didn't start Zeus Network. Okay, I didn't start the Black Network. I didn't start it. I didn't start Basketball Wives. I didn't start Love and Hip Hop. That wasn't me. I didn't put it on anything. I was just thinking out that when Black people come into power, they act exactly the way you claim white people are acting. So who's the real enemy? It means your enemy is power. It's not race, it is power. Because when they come into power, they use black people the same way white people use black people. The ones you so-called complaining about got the boot on your neck and make you look horrible. At the end of the day,
I'm not trying to cut you off.
Watch your mouth.
Can somebody tell this woman why she's wrong?
It's
At
how
the
you
end of the
define.
day, no, I'm not wrong. You just don't like what I'm
No,
saying.
I'm
You think that we had another guy up here like this. You want black people to be morally superior, and you're not. That is why
nobody's morally superior to anybody.
Yeah, you can make the argument that
I'm
black
not
people are
saying
morally
that.
superior.
I'm
You can
not
make that
saying that.
argument, yeah.
No, you are not morally superior. Mona Scott Young uses you for profit. Lamont Plummer uses you for profit.
No,
you are
you-
not morally superior.
You're right. You're
not.
right.
You're not
Okay,
the
so
world victim. You're not the
Jen.
world victim, although I know
Yeah,
you
there
because
was-
it helps. It helps.
I just said there's a segment of the population in the black, black men and women who do not do the right thing. Didn't I say that?
Jen and
I
Kev,
can prove that
listen.
point, right?
I'm not
I
trying
said
to be
it's a
rude.
segment.
I'm not trying to be rude to either
So
one
then
of
why are you saying
I'm
I'm
not
putting
trying
it?
to be rude to either one of you, but please don't make this a shouting match against each other. You all are kind of arguing the same point. Now, what you have to do,
No, she's
Jen,
wrong. I'm right.
What you have
No,
to
you're
do,
totally wrong, Mr. Research.
What you have to do is define what power is to you. Wealth does not, capitalism does not necessarily equal power. That is the true system in American society. That is what it built Americans. But that's what's going to continue. But is the ability to monetize. So you're going to find black people take advantage of other black people. You're going to see other people take advantage of people because if they can monetize it and make money off of it, and that's going to propel them to wealth, then that's what they're going to do. But that does not mean that they have power. There are other areas of power. There's political influence. There's social influence. There's a lot of different types of power. There's informational power where it's very specific for, like you're a technical expert or whatever, like a doctor, right? So it depends on how you define power. And then Kev, nobody's taking the moral high ground. No, you're absolutely right, Jen, when you say nobody is morally, nobody's above each other. Everybody is wrong in their own sense. But when we're talking about something generationally or we're talking about something culturally, we do have to recognize what's unique to that culture, what's unique to that that ethnicity or that generality, and like you said, stop the cap and find out what's fact versus fiction. Because it's another thing too. Cap can be statistics because there's a lot of statistics, as you know, if you take a statistics class, you can take the right formula and have a statistic argue any point of view you want it to. So statistics doesn't necessarily mean that.
So because we're gonna have our last
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So when I say power, you're correct. There are different forms of power, right? And then there are people who can have power and choose not to. They rather go buy this or buy that so they can look rich, or they can, a lot of people are now doing jail time because they PPP loans. Well, what did you do with the money? I had to go buy a Bentley.
Yeah, they frauded. Yeah.
Choices. We all make choices every single day. When I say power, I am saying having a streaming network is power. Mm-hmm. You get to decide what images you put out. You specifically get to decide what images you put out of your own people. And these black people with that power decided to put their own people out like a bunch of dancing clowns.
I agree with that. I do agree with that.
The most degenerate people
that goes back to institutional slavery all the way back.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
And choice. They decided money. This is not we're not on the plantation. Lamont Plummer wanted to buy.
No. See, that's the thing.
You're not shouting. So wait a minute.
No, you're right. I'm not trying to be rude to you.
Okay,
but I do want to respond to that.
Absolutely. Lamont Plummer, Mona Scott Young decided it's better to be in a mansion. It's better to be able to buy Gucci. It's better to create generational wealth than give a fuck about how my people look. It was a decision. It means money. It had nothing to do with, well, he was on the plantation. Whatever use these black people. It has nothing to do with that. We live in a capitalist society, and some people will throw anybody under the bus for this. But you think by you putting no, that's because of slavery. When you're making black people morally superior, black people are not morally superior. They like money, just like Latins do, just like white people do.
Yes, I agree with that.
Because
You're
they
right.
want money. Lamar Plummer wanted money. Mona Scott Young wanted money.
No,
While
okay,
you y'all like, oh, look at us. They're
Can I
like,
interject real quick?
come on here, act the fool so I can get me a Benz. That is how they're looking at you.
Okay, let me interject real quick. You're absolutely right. Nobody's morally superior over anyone. And you're absolutely right, especially in this day and age. We have to take responsibility for our choices. But this is what I will say. You have to think, because we saw it with Kanye and how he got ridiculed really quick when he started talking about the Jewish community, particularly the Jewish community.
He didn't get ridiculed. He got checked. He got checked, and he was corrected. He didn't get ridiculed. He got checked.
No, he didn't get checked because Adidas, the very top people who tried to check him and abandon him, had to come back to him. And he has a better deal with Adidas and is a billionaire again. I don't know if you checked your facts on that. He has
but the fact that he
did before, he didn't get put anything.
But the fact that that happened in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Listen, exactly what he said was going to happen is exactly what played out.
Yeah.
They need him more than what they need. Adidas would have failed as a company if they would have dropped Yeezy. But I don't want to digress. My 2 points here, which still go back to slavery, is one, the reason why we as Black people will pick a check over each other is that has to do with our own self-value, our own self-worth. And we were never taught that because you gotta remember, this is not that long ago, even though it's 400 years of slavery, equality, we just had the civil rights movement 40, 50 years ago. So
Okay,
we
so-
got
okay,
listen. We got
Yeah, no, we
grandparents.
gotta go. Keith, respectfully, we gotta go.
Yeah, so
You
I don't even like going back that far.
Yeah, you can mic. There's a lot of feedback.
All I'm
Yeah,
saying is we gotta watch.
right.
We gotta see where our value lies, and we don't have a lot of value because we weren't allowed to have.
Okay, go ahead, Haran.
I think you had the meeting.
Let me just break this down real quick. Okay, let me just break this shit down real quick. Okay, Blacks don't generally produce; we consume. Okay, we don't vote locally. We don't invest in Black banks. We have no political standing. We have no financial power. America is based on 2 concepts. Okay, it's ideas and distribution. Who owns the idea? IPs. Who owns the pipeline in which that idea can basically flow to whatever network? Hence, trade embargoes, so on and so forth. Every single industrial revolution was based on that concept. Now, if you don't own an idea, you work for an idea. We constantly hype ourselves for being strong in areas such as entertainment and sports, but we absolutely don't own any major distribution or any other major, IPs in these particular areas.
I'm sorry.
If you don't listen. So if you constantly produce and you constantly do not produce and you consume, you are by far just essentially a resource, a parasite that can essentially be interchanged at any given note. Hence why the Latino vote is going to essentially surpass the Black vote in about a good 10 years. Trust me on that.
No, consumerism is symbiotic, my brother, not parasitic. That's number one. Number two, you do not know the difference between a symbiotic relationship and a parasitic one?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we're not taking anything from anybody. Black people aren't taking anything from anybody.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Number two,
You
what I'm
missed
telling
the
you is
entire
that we
point of what I
had
just said.
several ideas. They were snatched from us. We did everything from open heart surgery.
No. Right now, what idea we on now?
Okay. What do you mean? What do we
Okay,
on now? Who runs NASA right now? Can you tell me? It's a Black astronaut. It's a Black doctor. All I'm saying is you're buying into the narrative that we don't own ideas, that we don't produce ideas, and that's wrong. That's there. It's just not propagated. It's not propagated in mainstream media for people like you to say what you're saying right now. You're wrong.
Brother,
we own a lot of ideas, and it's been taken from us. Everything has been successful, whether it was the segregated times or not. Everything has been successful in the Black community. It's been snatched and ripped from us. You're seeing that now. You've seen it in California, where those people had that land taken from. You've seen it in Black Wall Street. You've seen it in Bronzeville, in Chicago. And as far as you say, we have no representation politically. Brother, everybody comes to Chicago because they know how strong the Black vote is. Obama did. Rahm Emanuel came here. Everybody comes here to Chicago, bro.
Okay, so let me ask a crazy question. Let me ask a crazy question because I'm hearing.
You must be from New York.
I'm hearing a lot of crazy shit, but it's like, what the solution? Because I said before, like Black people collectively are the nagging wife of America. What's the solution? Are you?
What? So what's the what?
Yeah, Black people are the nagging wife of America. So what is this
What are we
solution?
nagging? Whoa, slow down. What are we nagging about?
Okay.
Let's do that. Let's
Okay.
let's.
Mute your mic 'cause it's late. I'm gonna mute your mic because it's late. So what is the solution? Because that word is thrown around a lot. Are you willing to spill blood to take power back and take the ideas that were snatched from you? What's the solution? Marching, voting? I'm just curious. As a non-Black person, as you know, and I know you can't talk in mixed company, but I'm just curious. Anybody in the chat can answer. You can super chat me. You can on the block with Jen at Gmail.
Wait, we can't talk to you in there.
Like what's the answer? What are you willing to do other than complain about what Whitey is doing to you?
And is that
What
Puerto
is
Rican
the
flag or Cuban flag?
solution? It's Puerto Rican. It's a Puerto Rican flag.
Are you Black too? What you talking about? Y'all,
Okay.
y'all
Let's
touch sugar cane, we touch
let's not
cotton.
get
That's
into
the
that.
difference.
We don't got enough time for that show. But
We
anyway,
sure
what is the solution? What is the solution? You need to worry about Black people who don't want to be Black before you worry about what Puerto Ricans are identifying as. Okay, there are plenty of Black people who don't want to be Black. Start there and then branch out to the islands. So what
then
is
look-
Y'all don't want to be Black either, but y'all, everybody knows that the Caribbean alphabet was Taíno.
what is the solution? What is the solution, nagging wife of America? What are you willing to do? Are you willing to spill blood to overtake the government? What are you willing to do other than
Why do-
crying out taken from you? Kanye West
Why-
is the most ridiculous.
Why would Black people have to spill blood to exist in a country?
Because blood was spilled to keep you here oppressed. That's why. White people were smart enough to know they'd have to beat you into submission. That's why blood would have to be spilled. You're not going to do it with a voting booth.
They weren't smart enough to do that. They were just more.
You're not going to do it with a voting booth. Okay, so Kanye West said all lives matter. Kanye West said slavery was a choice. Yet y'all only care about what he said about Jewish people. He basically
No,
said,
that's not true. I just
No, he
made
got
an
checked for
example.
saying
No,
that
I
too.
made
He
an
was wrong
example.
about
I made an
Basically, y'all
example,
only
and you saw that wasn't agreed with, so that's not true. And
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
understand
Nobody
what he
agrees with
means,
that.
but I understand what he means. He's eccentric, and he says some really charge-filled things, but a lot of people don't understand the vein of where he's coming from, and that's diverting from the topic. There is no simple answer for what goes on in America because it's not just one system at play here, quote unquote. And it doesn't matter whether you're Black, white, or whatever the case may be. Everybody has to make their own individual choice to hold a moral and ethical standard. Everybody has a choice to participate in our. I think one of the biggest things we got to get rid of, white, Black, or whatever, is get rid of the two-party system here in America. That's one of the biggest things I think we need to do because super PACs ain't doing good. No more than the Tea Party. There's no more than what is it, Amgen or whatever. What is that? What do them people call them? Very very left people. Antigua, my bad. Antigua, whatever. Antigua, whatever.
Let me ask you that. What? Kev, I'm sorry, not Kev. Keith, Kev.
Yeah, Kevin's my middle name. It's cool. What's up?
Okay, what's Black?
What's Black?
Yeah, what's Black?
Black is a culture that is specific to America and has stemmed from the slave trade from America. To me, I'm not I don't look at myself as an African. I will always be an American. My people before me have been American. They've been American citizens here.
Okay.
But my people, and if you look at my bloodline, like I said, I did my 23andMe. If you look at my bloodline, no, I don't look like I got Irish blood in me or British blood in me.
Do you think there's a difference between African ancestry and Black American culture?
Yes, absolutely.
You think so? Okay. Do you think I qualify for Black American culture? Your culture?
It depends. Are you from La Isla? You from the island?
I'm from Puerto Rico. Yes.
Then no, I wouldn't say you. I wouldn't call you Black American, but I would say that you have an Afro descendancy. You see what I'm saying?
Agreed. Okay. Agreed. All right. With that said, this has been the blog.
Jen, I like you. You a firecracker, Jen.
Well, listen, thank you for coming up and sharing your. I hope you come back. I hope Kev C comes back. We love seeing new faces up here.
I'll come back if you're gonna keep being wrong. I'll come back. I'm not challenging.
In New York, I'm coming for you, bro. I'm coming for you next time I'm over here.
You're from New York.
I'm about to say this is the block, boo. Like this
okay.
where you
I'm
at.
from Chicago. You already know how we get down out here in Chi. We a little different out here.
So Miss Jenny, I came up because you were a lot. I came up because you were wrong on a lot of things. You claim to see yourself as an expert on Black history, culture, and tradition, et
We
cetera, et
get it.
cetera.
We
I'm
get it.
telling you
We
that you're
get
not.
it. We get it. We get it,
No, you're
Kev.
not.
You know what? We get it. We
I know.
get it,
I know
Kev.
better than you.
You
I
know
know
it
better
all,
than you.
Kev.
And yeah.
Good night, everybody. Good night, everyone.
And much love. We need. I want to say one last thing. We need more discussions like this. And the fact that we're passionate about it and we're heated about it, I think that's great because it didn't wind up in us hating each other. At the end of the day, we can smile, we can go away and learn a little bit something about each other. So I think the fact that this was, that I was able to be a part of this is amazing. I subscribe to, is it Lily?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. I
subscribe to this,
appreciate it.
So if you ever want to hit me up and shoot me a message or whatever, and I'll be on.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Leave
All
a
right,
comment, Keith. Leave a comment on somebody's post so we know where to find you. Leave a comment on any of our channels. Just be like, yo,
subscribe to all of us.
All right, yeah. Let me see if I can do that. I know I look young, but this technology, I'm old.
Listen,
We're all-
listen. Okay. Woo!
I'm having a hard time here. You hear me?
It'd be hard out here.
Yes,
It's
it is.
hard.
Cab, you come back and be right so we can all be wrong. We
Yes,
appreciate
Yeah, you're going to be wrong. I'm sure you will be. You'll
We
be wrong about
appreciate
something.
you.
I'll come back.
right.
I've been so enlightened. I've been so enlightened tonight. I feel
Well, I'm
Me
right.
too.
When I'm right, I'm right.
You
I know
are.
what
I
I'm
love
talking
it.
about.
I love it.
I know what my counterpoints are.
You do.
Yeah, they were
And-
great. They were so clear. They were great. They were.
Well, just because
I
you don't
haven't heard- I
understand it doesn't mean I'm not right.
I haven't heard any of those all week.
Well, we've never heard those two
Hey,
before.
hey, I was-
Especially on the block.
I wouldn't mind talking to Keith a little bit if he wants to hang around. I don't know if he took off already.
Whoa.
Yeah, he took off. There he goes. Keith Wade. Keith Wade.
If he can come back up for a hot.
No, sir. You could get his number and you guys could tap it up on the phone.
No, he could because you guys are going to take off. He and I can talk for a second.
When I came down, the whole channel goes down. Kev, that's how.
I was definitely checking off. I had a checklist of everything we've heard before, and I was going through the checklist.
Right. It's like the same shit every single time.
Verbatim, Mr. Research. I'm right. You're wrong. I'm right.
It's
verbatim.
It's a script. It's like a script.
I'm gonna
at this
work
point.
on getting. I don't know what I'm gonna get. I'm gonna work on getting something that when the Jews are brought up, you can put it out there like the race.
I need a Jewish now.
I'm gonna find something like them dancing the da 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 da.
Because at this point, it's so predictable. At this point,
something that says Mazel Tov every time they bring up.
Oh my God!
Every time they bring up Mazel Tov. And it's only respectfully, it is only Black people that bring up Jewish people every who else brought up Jewish people?
Oh, the right wing, the far right racists bring up the Jews a lot too.
On this panel?
No, not on this panel. No.
Talking about, I don't know about any. I'm talking about on this panel. There's one thing we can count on, and that's a Black person bringing up Jewish people.
The only Jew I'm going to bring up is
every
Israel
time.
Grace. He's in the chat, so.
The original Jew.
The original Jew. Yes.
The original. Tristan, hi baby. Okay, we out of here. This was eventful. 3 fucking hours long. Jesus. But I knew we were gonna go long.
The one time y'all are up late and I can come on.
I know.
I'm a burn. You know what? I'm gonna start just playing random porn on this channel and get struck. Okay.
But you know what? It doesn't. But you know what? It's not like we're not coming back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow if y'all want to argue some more.
Right.
Oh,
Exactly.
I got an argument starter just to stir up drama, or no? Yes or no?
What
Well,
now?
not tonight. We're about to get off.
No, I know, but I'm just gonna show the meme and it'll be drama tomorrow about it.
What's the meme?
It's a picture.
Okay.
I'm scared. I'm not grown like that. I'm not that grown.
And I'm debating whether I should just hop off and just let it stir.
Well, it's not gonna stir tonight. It's not gonna stir tonight. We are done.
Right.
Oh,
Is it
only because of what I've heard. Okay, put me on the big screen.
Kevin
No, I'm
Sanders?
not, sir. I don't know what you're gonna. No, I'm not, sir. I'm not gonna put you.
I
in
know you might have to get blocked tonight.
Yeah. I'm getting blocked.
24-hour block. A 24-hour block.
Nah,
But
that's what my channel fucked with now.
why would I? No, not that part. No. It's a cartoon meme. It's
Okay.
Patrick Star.
Okay.
Well,
Oh.
Patrick Star's hand. So, based off tonight's conversation and reading off the ladies, somebody has to get the clown license tonight. And this is what happened.
Good day and good night. I am
All class dismissed. And I'm not responding to nothing.
Yeah, well, that's typical. Come up, throw some insults, and take off. Typical.
Good night, guys.
Right.
Hit that like and subscribe for mama. And if you enjoyed the fireworks, hit me cash app, throw a little something in there, buy me a smoothie. Come back tomorrow. We'll be talking more shit. And if your feelings got hurt, that's a good thing. It'll get your blood flowing. Send your gripes to ontheblock@gmail. Don't forget to follow us. I got a one-on-one interview coming with Big Daddy Kane on Monday. And we also have Sisterhood Sips premiering on Monday. Lily and I will talk about the similarities between transgender women and cisgender women. That's coming on Monday, y'all, but you got to follow. Check out my community tab so you know what we got coming up. Lots of juicy things coming, interviews and what have you. Spro, you should have came on up here, damn it. But we'll be back up tomorrow. Thank you for everyone who contributed. You guys know, even when we don't agree, that's what conversation is about. All right, guys, we are out of here. Good night. Hit that like and subscribe on your way out. And thank you to the new faces that came up. Appreciate you as well. Trust me, we do. We give you a hard time, but we appreciate you as well. Good night, guys.